reached down, grabbed that snake at what you would consider a snake waist. Bam, bit me.
Too much snake slack.
And when I went to let him go, like I jerked my hand back, and when I did, threw him into the corral.
Oh yeah, I went wheels up.
Ended up with a fish in the air box.
Oh my God. What bike was he on when he showed up covered in mud?
Blue. We couldn't tell. We didn't know what color it was. So, yeah, we couldn't tell.
Scared money don't make money.
2.
He's always interrupting us during the best part. So here we go again. Boys, we got another checkers or wreckers, and this one, the stories from this event were crazy. The close fights, the close crashes, the money that it cost us. This was a crazy, crazy weekend with us. D, you wasn't even out there this time.
No.
Where was you at?
I literally hadn't even been on social media, so like all the stuff that y'all talking about, it's gonna be the first time I ever heard it. I ain't seen none of the videos, none of the pictures. I ain't heard none of the stories. So I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty well looking forward to this. None of it involved me. But to answer your question, I was on a canoe trip with my family. I already know I done played it out every way in my mind how I can lie to my family to try to get.
So you didn't have to go with them?
So I didn't have to go with them, and I could go with y'all. But
all you had to do was tell them, like, hey, Dad, brother, Uncle Dad.
that ain't in DA's personality.
Cowboy's gonna be there. We gotta go.
I just couldn't figure out a lie that was good enough to pass off as believable. So I was doing family things.
It definitely wasn't the same without Dustin Henderson there. I'll tell you that.
Well, I appreciate that.
Not the same. Your bike did get mistreated, but wasn't the same without you there.
Appreciate that.
Logan, you finally got your dad bod out of the house.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to get some sun on my body. When I go to the beach, I don't look like a big white golf ball out there.
Dude's riding around shirtless, looking like he was wearing a clear shirt while we were trail riding.
What are you up to now? About a good deuce and a half?
I might as well just be 250. Yeah, I mean, y'all just keep growing me. So.
Oh man.
And probably the one that created the most carnage for the weekend and got us near the most fights for the weekend. QD.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I would got us most of the nearest to the fights. I might have got in the middle of them. Actually, I de-escalated the first one.
Surprisingly, de-escalated the big one that we about got into.
Yeah, I de-escalated a front drive shaft, a rear diff.
Gosh, man.
All right.
But, I mean, to discuss the weekend, it was Memorial Day weekend at Muddy Bottoms right here in Louisiana for the Mudapalooza Mud Ride, one of only 4 events that they have during the year, so it's always a blowout. Plus, people had COVID for the past couple of years. They're ready to get out the house.
Mm-hmm. They may still have COVID, but they would just want to get out the house.
But they wanted to get out the house with it.
Yeah. Sun, vitamin D, it's better for you.
And it's just going off at Muddy Bottoms for Memorial Day. And your boys wasn't going to miss that, you know? Plus, who came down?
Cowboy, his buddy Eric from Dallas, like his old runaround buddy. Who else? Matt was with him, his social media dude. He's basically one of the bros too.
Cowboy he can't get enough of Louisiana. I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of months he'd ended up getting a house down here.
I feel like he's been playing it kind of cool with us. Like, you know how we were like, man, I just don't want to text him or ask him for his number because I didn't have it for a while, even after we hung out. But dude, he blows us up throughout the day. Does he text you?
Nah, we don't exchange texts like that.
No, it's because D's always texting with Dominic Reyes and Justin Gaethje all the time.
Yeah, that's my boys too. So trying to get them down here to come hang out toward the end of this month.
For sure.
But yeah, Cowboy. Dude, he's ate up with it.
Man, he is.
It just took one time.
And the tough part is, dude he's been successful, so he's got a lot of money, and he's got all the time in the world because he don't have a normal day job.
I don't think he understands that we're still in fight camp with our company. Basically,
we're in the beginning stages and the beginning training.
Yeah. We're getting prepared, and he ain't got nothing but time on his hands. He'll call me with the craziest nonsense every single day. Hey, man, what you think about this idea? And I'm like, where did you come up with this?
Hey, man, I'm trying to put a bounty hole at the ranch. How deep does it need to be?
That's what it is. Hey, we're having that kids camp. I think I'm going to just build a permanent tent. I'm going to build a big teepee for us all to stay in. Like, Cowboy, where'd you come up with this?
Dude, he's straight think tank 24/7. We'll put that in between skydiving and mountain biking.
Yeah. But they came back down for this weekend mud ride. This is the first time that they got out to go to a big mud bash. And for anybody that doesn't understand what a big mud event is about, it's basically weekend. For this one, it was a 3-day weekend. of a how big is Muddy Bottoms?
10,000 acres.
Yeah. So
I thought
is
it was
that right?
5. I think it's 5.
Nah, he just throwing a number out there.
No, I think it's like 5 or 6.
You can tell because he stuck his chin out like he knew what he was talking about.
So we'll go with 10,000 acres of trails, mud, and I don't know, 8, 10, 12,000 people on ATVs side by sides that just want a mud ride for a whole weekend.
Bro, and rednecks are stretching it, bro. Like, it started out a Friday, Saturday, Sunday deal. Now people are getting there Thursday
Yeah.
and out of control.
That's what Brad said. Some people camped out
Outside the gate.
Wednesday night outside the gate to get in at 2 o'clock on Thursday. So people were itching to get out there and go riding.
Conditions was prime too. Been raining more
Oh,
than it's
dude.
ever rained here. So
It couldn't be better.
you know the park was gonna be ideal.
Eat up with it.
It was flooded.
It was.
I hate that I missed
Super
it.
wet.
Everything was full. The holes ended up being a little too full.
Bro.
But if you haven't experienced a mud ride at a mud park, a true actual event, not just going trail riding with your buddies at the deer camp, but like a sure enough mud ride, there's very few things like that. I've always heard people say like, man, Glamis for Halloween is wild. Like it goes off out there. Or, man, Sturgis is out of control. Mud events, especially when you get down by the sand pit or the bounty hole or the races or just the play holes and watch the carnage, the stuff that people tear up, vehicles lost, money lost, and just people showing out.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, I haven't been to Sturgis. I imagine that's pretty wild and trashy. Well, we'll just call it what it is because the mud rides get a little trashy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what makes them so wild.
Let's just open with the first day when we came and met Cowboy. What was it, Friday morning? Yeah, it was Friday morning, right? We dropped everything off Thursday night, got the whole camp and everything set up, and came and met Cowboy for breakfast on Friday morning at Slump Buster Lounge.
Oh yeah,
y'all
I've been there.
meet?
I've been there.
Like
Slump Buster Lounge.
No, I'm saying before work that morning.
No. I mean, we had a late breakfast.
Oh.
We had a late breakfast.
Oh, okay.
We didn't make it in there till about 11:15, which is still breakfast time.
We just paid Cowboy back for sleeping in that day. He had us up at the shop, loaded up at 8 in the morning. He shows up at 11.
Oh yeah.
He did. He said, "Hey man, can y'all?" I said, "Dustin, what time are we showing up tomorrow? Like, what are we doing this weekend?" Because it was Friday, and like not everybody's going ham right off the bat, so we wanted it all killer. And D's like, "Man, let's just get up. Like, we'll meet him for breakfast and get out there." And right before we left the night before setting up, Cowboy's like, "Hey man, can y'all be out here like 8 early, so I'm not just hanging out by myself?" And D's like tells me, he's like, yeah, let's do that. And then somehow it ended up eating up the morning.
Yeah.
And we didn't meet him breakfast till like 10 o'clock.
Oh, a little taste of his own medicine.
Yeah.
Huh? How mad was he?
Oh, he was. He was
Texting you?
texting us like, I guess I'm just going to hang out all day by myself out here.
He was a little fired up.
Real passive aggressive.
Yeah, like immediately, y'all ain't even my real friends. It's like, dude, you've been here one day and we're just a few minutes late and we ain't friends no more.
He said, I already hear people riding back in the woods. I can hear the exhaust.
He can't take it, dude. He wants to have fun. But I will say, I have realized going anywhere with Cowboy is a dangerous, volatile situation. He's so much fun. The dude is so funny. But the problem is he talks so loud everywhere we go.
Yeah, that ring demeanor of like doesn't care about your surroundings, just it transpires like outside of that for sure. And what's crazy is he being a fighter, like we've all known, like dude, he's so nice and
Yeah.
so he's complete opposite of what you think somebody like that would be, except for that portion. Like he has no regards to what's around. If he's trying to make you laugh or say something, he's just gonna say what's on his mind. There's no filter.
It's crazy because he's not looking for trouble. He doesn't do it to cause problems. It's just that's how loud he talks. And like he doesn't care what he says or who can hear what he's saying.
Yeah, he's like that guy. I've only been around him a handful of times in that kind of situation, and I never really noticed it, I don't guess. But he's like that guy at the restaurant that you can literally hear 2 tables away. You can hear everything that they're saying.
Man, he's like
Yeah.
that guy at Kobe's that like yells across with other families around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
yells
That guy.
obscenities
Yeah, obscenities at other
because
people at the table.
because somebody's trying to loud cap him.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Just
then-
like that.
And then you just pull the ultimate flex on him in front of everybody.
Yes.
But the things that he says is always sometimes making fun of people that's around and just kind of pointing out the obvious. But
Yeah.
every time you kind of cringe when he's going to say something because you're like, oh man. Do you remember
Yeah.
the Slump Buster break? What he said?
Yeah, he was like, do all Louisiana police officers look like that? And like there was like a
Oh
state
my
trooper right behind me, and he's at the other captain's chair, and I'm at the captain's chair this end. So like I'm like thinking like, I know he's trying to make us laugh, but I don't think he realizes how loud he's talking. And like, I didn't even want to laugh at it, even though it was funny, because I'm thinking like, then the dude's really going to know. Like, I'm sure what he said caught his attention, but if I would have laughed, he would have put it all together. So I'm trying not to laugh. And then I look over to my left, and we're kind of looking around in the restaurant because you can tell, like, Sarepta is a small town. They know, like, oh, these people from outside, they're at that mud park. And, like, my perception of it is, these look like the people that are the ones that protested the park in the first place. Like, this is their local diner. It's quiet there. That's the only restaurant they go out to eat. And so, like, from the moment we walked in, every table was staring at us the whole time, like, periodically. And so then he gets talking loud, and I'm thinking, oh, man, it's only a matter. They don't know who he is. These people are 40, 50, 60 years old. We're just cracking jokes, stuff you'd say amongst your friends. And so I'm over here, like, cringing every time he goes to speak up because it's so loud. And then I look to my left, and he notices, he's like, hey, what's the children of the corn doing looking at you? And it's right when I noticed. So he's talking loud. I'm scoping around, and I look to my left, and this kid is just staring at me.
Hey, Quinton only. Table full of us. He's staring at Quinton
Like,
only.
when you say kid, like, how old?
13, 12, 13 years
Like,
old.
do you think he was that old? I
Maybe
think he was like
10.
8 or 9.
I don't know, 8 or 9.
He was staring at you while you were talking, or just like
the whole time, literally.
burning a hole in the side of your head.
He was
for no reason?
staring at me to the point to where I knew he was staring at me minutes before I even noticed it. Like, so I looked to the left and he's staring at me, and like I was like, and it wasn't like you're looking at him like a possibility he's staring past you. No, he's looking right at me, and I was like, "What's up?" And I give him a head nod. Nothing.
Bro, stone cold.
Stone
cold him.
Almost like he had a problem. Like,
yes.
he did. Oh, okay. All right, keep going.
And they all notice it right when I notice it and see me nod him and start laughing. And they're like, what is the children of the corn doing staring at you? And like, I start laughing because I'm like, dude, I don't know. Did y'all see that? He just stone cold me. I thought he was staring at me, and I say, what's up? And nothing. And so they start cracking up. Well, then Cowboy catches wind of it, and he starts talking about everybody at the table over there and just going on and loud enough to where, like, if the parents would have looked at the kids staring at us, they would have known. And it was a table full of grown men.
Bro, and they was cornbread, big dudes. All of them had beards. All of them had denim shirts with cut off sleeves. Like, all of them was wearing Crocs in four-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah. So you know they was ready for something. Let me ask you this, though. Who looked away first? You or him?
Oh, I did.
Kid. You did?
I did. He
bro.
never quit looking at me, even after all them talking about it. Literally just stared at me for probably another 10 or 15 minutes. It was super strange.
I never saw him blink. I'll be honest with you.
Really?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't blink. It was the oddest thing. It was yeah, I don't know. You would have thought something was maybe wrong with the kid. And then the best part is we all leave breakfast and get back to camp, and they're camped right across the street from us.
Son of a
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, they're the camper right next to us. Little kids standing by the road whenever we pull in, just staring at Quinton.
Still staring at him?
Where
Ain't
was
broke
I? I'll be honest with you. This kid looked like Logan when he was a kid with a little shaved head. So that's what's going on. That's how lost Logan is. He's as lost as this kid.
But we roll into the park, we get everything set up. Well, actually, it was already set up from the night before, but we roll into the park, jump out the trucks, and that little kid is literally in the camp directly across the street from us, just still staring.
How's that even happen?
I don't know. He had like gym clothes on from 3 years ago. Shorts too small, shirt too small. I'm telling you. And he wasn't even like an overweight kid. He just had clothes on too small. So and he had a shaved head. He kind of looked like what's that military movie with the
Major Payne?
No, the
Jarhead.
no, not that one. The
It's
Snakes on the Plane?
Saving Private Ryan.
you know what I'm talking about? The
No,
Platoon.
let's just keep guessing.
Platoon?
Nah,
Give me
Full
a
Metal
hint.
Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
He looked like
Oh,
what's the crazy one? A Full Metal Jacket that shoots himself.
Oh, yeah, the fat bald head
Yeah.
guy?
Yes, but this kid didn't have any weight on him, but looked just like him.
okay.
So look
Yeah.
kind of crazy like that. But I think I know why. Because do y'all remember at the restaurant right after we all started laughing because we all noticed
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal
That was
Jacket.
good. That was good.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna get it, but so the funnier part was we didn't know if the adults heard us not because we all start laughing, and then the kid knocks a drink over on the table after staring at me
On y'all's table or his table or what?
his table, and
Oh,
his parents. Because it was in a whole adult conversation, so he's the only kid. So maybe that's why he was staring at us. We were having fun. I don't know. And then he knocks that drink over, and we all start laughing louder. So that's the point where we were like, man, I don't know if the parents know we was talking about him before, and now we're laughing louder. They knocked the drink over, and they all started looking at us. And then we're like, all right, cool. We dodged a bullet. We're out of here. And then they're camping across from us.
Right across the campground.
Oh, man.
Fortunately for Quinton, nothing popped off with his 8-year-old.
Bro, I was pulling keys out of my bike. I was watching my back at night.
Yeah, that
It
dude
was
was
weird.
plotting
It was
something
odd.
for sure. For sure. I don't know. Maybe he knew who you were or something from your social media or something. But man, he sure did stare at you like y'all was not friends.
It was
Maybe he was wondering if you was daddy or something. You know what I'm saying? Did he kind of look like Quinton a little bit?
A lot like
he
Quinton.
did.
Whole lot. He even had a beard.
For real?
8-year-old.
It's a replicate. I mean, possibility.
Looked a lot like Quinton. But when we rolled back into camp, like we thought we had a solid plan. Like we're coming into camp. We're like noon by now. We just finished up breakfast at noon. But we got to get ready for what we decided to have was a group ride. You know, we'd put it out on Instagram, on Cowboys, on all of our Instagram, on Facebook for S3 Power Sports and all that we're going to have a group ride. So we got to set up a cool trail that we can take a big group on that's not too difficult, but it's still fun. It's got some good play spots. So we're like, oh, yeah, this will be easy, dude. Like, there's a couple of trails that we know. We've been on a bunch of times. You know which one it ended up trying to be.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, let's just go on, like, a quick ride. It needs to be, like, a 20 or 30-minute loop. Like, let's get down in the woods.
This was Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Friday.
This was Friday. So the group ride was on Saturday. But Friday, we had to lay out a little path. And we just wanted to ride and had fun. We literally hadn't got on anything yet.
Because Cowboy's been listening to exhaust go off for 3 hours
Dude,
now.
we set up.
Can't take it.
We can't take it.
Yeah.
He's on things just rapping
Just
it.
jumping.
He's like, all right, we got pictures. Let's go.
Dude,
And we're like, hold on a second. We got to get this ready. All right, I'm going to ride right around in here. You know, you get your little pit bike out or something. You're like, oh, let me ride right around in here on camp. That's how he is the whole
pacing,
time.
couldn't sit still.
No.
Like he had to be doing
I'm just
something.
going to take this up to the concessions and see what they got. I'll be back.
You already know he was sitting out front of his RV just in squatch.
He was.
Stereo loud as
Oh,
it
yeah.
freaking
When we
goes.
showed
All the rock lights on.
Yep.
Light bars on. Just
yeah.
waiting for people to see him. Got the door propped open.
Middle of the day, too. 12
Yeah.
o'clock in the afternoon.
That ain't weird.
Everything
You
off.
know how Joe Dirt sits up against the merry-go-round where he's like just kind of flexing it out?
yeah.
Putting out the vibe.
Oh, yeah, that's how Cowboy was leaned up on it. Yeah, that's how exactly.
He was flip flop, swim shorts and cut off, ready to go. He didn't care about unloading and setting up nothing else. So let's roll. And we're like, all right, cool. Yeah, the day is closing in. We got to go scouting.
And we thought it was just going to be like a quick little trail ride down one of the trails that we knew. And so, you know, it was our first time to get to ride. We hadn't ridden it at all until now. We're like, all right, let's jump on the rigs and let's go. Pulled right there out of the campground on the trail that runs down to the bottom where we shot the Can-Am XMR shoot. You know what I
Purple
mean?
and blue.
Blue trail?
Yeah, the blue trail where you can see left and right. Left kind of goes down there to that water bottom where Mr. Mouse sank the Defender.
I like to call that the big job trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it the skitter trail.
Yeah. And then right gets into the thick of it, the deep woods. And so we literally hit the end of the trail, turn right, make it through one hole. Well, some of us made it through one hole.
You made it through one hole. Quinton got into the hole, and that's where it stopped.
Yeah, my bike, dude, that makes me so mad. We knew this ride was coming, and D's like, hey, we got to have all the bikes fixed and ready to go 100%. I'm like, cool. I even spent the day prior, apology to Dustin and Cowboy, he was like, all right, 2 weeks. I'm like, I know. I didn't know it needed a wheel bearing. It was wobbling a little bit last time. I got to change it because I know I'm going to pay for it this weekend if I don't. So everybody's stuff's 100% ready to go. First hole we pull in, back, limp mode. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And then
Running hot.
yeah, running hot. So didn't know what was going on because it was 100% when we washed and parked it. And then
So we pull everything off of Quinton's, try to get the fan going, spin it by hand, check the fuses, like pull the connections, like check everything, but it won't cool down, the fan won't come on. So we're like, all right, let's drag it back to him. This is not 20 minutes into the trail. So we're like, all right, everybody turn around, like let's head back out to the camp, let's get Quinton's fixed real quick and let's go. So everything starts going into reverse, right? And some people go full lock, reverse, in a hole, trying to get their rig out.
But what's bad is, like, DJ got through the hole. Quinton's like 3/4 of the way through the hole, and the hole's only like top of the tire deep. I'm in the beginning of it, just sitting there, Indian style on my seat, waiting to go. And Cowboy just
I was about to say, I know it wasn't you that
No.
did something like that. It was Cowboy.
He
Couldn't take it.
Cross-rutted and tried to find a different path. And
Broke axle.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Broke one of the front axles. Full
Yeah,
lock,
'cause-
full steer, wrapped on it,
Cross-rutting it.
Cup out.
In reverse.
cup out.
and well, the thing was that we were talking on the way there. Dustin was super stressed out. He's like, bro, will you just pull up the map, somebody bottom? We've got to find a trail. We're already like behind. We're late getting here. We got to scout the trail. And I'm like, yeah, so we're pulling up Muddy Bottom's map. And I'm going to say right now, they going to have to do some work on the thing. Nothing is marked on it. It's just colored trails. There's no amphitheater here, nothing so you can reference anything. I've got Google or Apple Maps open in satellite mode, swapping back and forth to figure out where 19th holes and all this is. And I was thinking, like, dude, I wish DH or Logan was here because they would remember the park and the easy trails.
I knew exactly where we were going. I was like, I was further in the back of the line. I was like, we're not going left because nobody's getting through that because it's going to be 10 foot deep. And when we go right, when we turned the corner to go right, there was 3 X3s that were stuck.
Oh, yeah.
Within viewing area.
Sitting
Yeah,
right there.
that's my point. There was the hole we picked to go through was the easiest hole,
Yeah.
and D was already stressed out, and he was already been telling Cowboy like, "Hey, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this." But there was only one good line, and so worst case scenario, instead of them just chilling out and letting us get the bike move, everybody starts trying to take their own path. And the other paths we already knew, like you're not
Impassable.
making them.
They were
you know what I mean?
trashed.
Cowboy gets turned around that one, and it could have been a louder bang on that front axle going loose. And I look back, full lock, worst case scenario, rear tires chalked in one rut, front in this one, to
Wedged
where the
in there.
front tire is getting, it's sideways in the rut, it's getting pulled like this.
It's
and just
bound up. Like, can't move. And he's rap, like Quinton does all the time.
Left hand on the reverse override button.
Oh, yeah.
we shouldn't have
Leonard-
showed him that one.
Leonard, that ain't no lie.
All right, so 20 minutes into the ride.
No, it wasn't 20 minutes. Let's be realistic.
5 or 10.
5 minutes.
So
The first
5
trail,
Because y'all hadn't even taken Quinton's front end apart yet.
When that
He was
happened.
just trying to make a trail next to me. And I was like, that ain't gonna work.
so first day, 5-10 minutes into the ride, Quinton gone.
Gone.
yeah.
Cowboy
Gone.
out.
Not knowing. Because
Where's your stress level at this point?
100, 100.
Immediately when he heard the bang, he goes, "There goes the front axle." He's like, "We got to get these bikes out of here." And he's like, "Everybody, just stop. We're going to get Quinn's out. Don't go anywhere." And then all of a sudden you hear a X3 spooling up. Wow! What's the old boy that came down from Ohio? Legion Motorsports.
tracks.
Tracks.
Tracks from
I don't know who that
Legion Motor. I think it's Legion Motorsports on Instagram.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got a little tire sponsor. So he had some like Tennessee tires on it, like for like
Dude,
partial
yeah.
rock crawling. Bro, he's got that thing 70 miles an hour, slinging stuff to the bottom tree limbs.
Ain't
Just
going
put-
nowhere.
Not
You don't
moving.
know any better.
Just letting it freaking eat.
Just
dude.
putting miles on his bike, sitting still.
Yeah. He's got like a 100 octane tune on it. So it's just, and we just turn around and there's the limbs. Tink, 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 tink.
Dude, yeah. So I'm just looking around and D's going, "We got to get them out of here." And I'm like, "Oh man, we are in such a bad shape." So we get everybody turned around. We get heading back out of there. And
Do we want to talk about how we tested the front axle to make sure it was good?
No, what'd y'all
Or
do?
make sure it was
Oh yeah,
definitely
'Cause
broke?
That's how me and freaking Cowboy got sideways.
Yeah. These
Sideways
two
with
dudes.
each other?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You know, Dustin, like,
he's
he
always
talks softly, but like if you don't hear him and he doesn't know that you didn't hear him, then he's like, "Peace, I'm out," and just walks off. So Cowboy gets it straightened up and locks it in. 'Cause, it's got that Visco 4-lock thing. Well, the front right axle is that small stub. It spun once, like the tire spun over. So we're like, well, maybe it's not broke. Let's just test it. Well, it wasn't a bad line, but there was a trail to go down. So he's like, just hit that trail, 4 low and 4 lock, whatever.
Let's try it.
And he got off in it, and it just sank on the right side. And it spun maybe twice, and then never spun again. So it's bound up over on the side. And the fenders are digging into the sidewall of the hole. It didn't look bad, but it got bad quick. And so Cowboy's like, I don't know what to do, obviously, because you're not getting it out of there without a winch. And DJ walks over there because he's messing with Quinton at the end of the other hole. And he walks over there and he's like, all right, y'all help me get this thing out. So we're like pushing on it. DJ's on the handlebars trying to pull it in reverse. I'm pushing up on the front rack and Cowboy's just standing there with his arms crossed.
Are you serious?
And I knew
But it was
DJ was
Cowboy
like,
and Matt, and I think the Legion dude. So there's a few people
so there's
standing
a few
around.
people
me and
sitting
you.
there, and me and DJ and Mikey,
Yeah.
Daniel,
that's
we're
right.
trying to get it out. And DJ like turned over his shoulder and looked like it's an expectation. Touch the bike and
Yeah,
get
like,
it out of here.
Help us.
And nobody moved, and DJ just walked off. And I was like, "Gosh dang it! Now I got to get this thing out."
No, and somebody's like, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm not pushing on this thing by myself."
Yeah.
And just walked off. Got on my bike, left.
Bro, they were just going to stand there and
I was
watch y'all?
Well, no,
mad.
this is in
Sweat.
Cowboy's defense since he's not here. So this is his side of it. So we get back to camp. We get everybody out there. We get back to camp, and Cowboy goes, "Why'd you yell at everybody like that and just walk off?" He's like, why don't you just say something if you need some help? And he's like, I'm watching you. He's like, I thought you were doing, he's like, I know what you're doing. I thought you were doing some kind of tricks trying to get it out or something.
He said, I thought you was doing some mud riding trick, getting it out of there by yourself.
He said he watched D, you know, because you try to move from floorboard to floorboard to see if the bike will pick up or get traction or what's easier to push or go. So he's like, you know, I didn't see it happen. So my depiction is Cowboy sitting back, you know, kind of like learning, like, all right, cool. What's he doing? So he's sitting there watching D.
Right, I'm in the middle of the woods getting bit by mosquitoes, sweating, pulling, pushing, like trying reverse, and finally had enough.
So it wasn't coming out and they wasn't helping you. So it's like, you figured it out.
Yeah, so he did. And me and Mikey just looked at each other and we laughed because we knew he was ticked off about it. And it was funny because Quinton's right. Cowboy was like, I mean, just freaking say something. If you got something to say it. Why are you walking off like a little girl?
Yeah, he was like, why are you going to yell like that like a little girl? He's like, I didn't know. I thought you were doing like parkour or something trying to get it out or some kind of mud riding trick. He's like, so I'm just watching, learning. He's like, I didn't know y'all were pushing it.
Bro, them two dudes.
That's actually really funny.
And
They was
went
like
back
little brothers.
Yeah, bro, we
arguing
went back
about
and
it.
forth for a minute because I was like, I understood where you're coming from and I calmed down, but I was still a little irritated and like trying to argue my point, and he wasn't listening. He just kept talking. So like we kind of kept going and going and going until he was like pacing back and forth under the awning while I'm sitting here working on the bike. Bro, and like it was just everybody's kind of standing there like, oh man, what's fixing to happen right now?
Everybody's kind of laughing and and Cowboy's trying to talk to each person and explain his side of it. And Dustin's like, bro, I mean, y'all see me pushing. He's like, why don't you just say something then? He's like, I didn't know. All you got to do is say something, not freaking yell and walk off like a little girl pissed off. And dude,
It was funny.
We were cracking up.
We got it out. It only cost us both right side fender flares. But
Oh man, didn't we just put them on there too?
yeah.
Just put them on.
We screwed them back in.
Tore that back off.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. They good. But
Y'all should have just
Super freaking
50% leg kicked each other and just called it good.
Ooh, man.
I would have at that point. I was so sweaty and mad. I'd have leg kicked everybody
You
in
would?
the woods. I had to kick people we didn't know in the woods.
And you would have took one from him?
No, I wouldn't have done that.
it was bad.
I wouldn't
We
have
got
done
that out, and then what's his name? Trax almost got stuck again. He had to make his own trail because you couldn't turn around right there to get to where he was because he was going to have to go back through what we already went through.
Y'all hear that?
It was nasty.
Hold on, what is that?
What was that floppy jowl
Sound
sound?
like somebody's enjoying a nice, thick milkshake.
For people that can and can't hear, if you hear that in the background, that's just Dixie walking around here picking up stuff off the floor like a little vacuum cleaner.
But it sounds like when you're enjoying a milkshake and you get right to the bottom. You know what I'm saying?
And you
where
start
you're-
really slurping on it,
Where you're drawing faster than it'll run into the bottom of the straw.
and the straw's collapsing because you're sucking so hard.
Ugh.
So we finally got out of the woods, got the rigs back to the camp, started fixing everything, got everything tore down. Quinton, of all things, actually it was under Logan's instruction, found a radiator fan at O'Reilly's that Logan had used before. But like Logan was like, man, this is going to be a big job. Like you got to cut up your factory fan shroud and like zip tie it in there.
So that was
like, all right.
that was 3 years ago when we rode with Casey and them,
Still Renegade though.
but still Renegade. But the 10-inch universal fan kit, they done upgraded it.
Oh,
now.
according to Logan.
So Logan made it out to be a way bigger job than it
It
actually
ended up being an easy job for Quinton.
I was like, I don't want to rig it and have it chew up my brand new radiator or something. He's like, no, you cut the shroud and you zip tie it in and it's good. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
you-
the type of person I like to fix it right the first time and just be done with it, whatever it costs at that time. If they would have had the fan's $220 can. If they would have told me $500 for an OEM fan out there, cool, done. I'm gonna do it once and be done. Don't care.
Bro, that fan will last you for at least
Oh, no,
2 or
it's-
3
there's
rides.
already
2
new
rides,
one.
maybe.
Nope.
2, yeah, mine was
Maybe.
2. I
We
think.
don't get to ride often. I'm not doing trail fix. Don't stay on mine. It's coming back off and it's getting fixed right. So we call Riley's. Luckily, that bike's new. Y'all don't have Titan axles out for it yet, and we didn't have no spare axles. And so, just so happens by sheer luck, when we converted my bike over from the wider suspension to the narrow, that's the only option y'all had available. I had all brand new axles for that thing, the right width. So I was like, cool, we got these at my shop. We can get him back going and bring all the spare ones because we know he ain't done tearing them up for the weekend. O'Reilly's had one fan left in stock.
Which O'Reilly's did you call too?
The one here at North Market Riley's
it
shop.
actually
Because I
had-
already know if I told Dustin, hey, we got to go to my shop, this O'Reilly's across town in Halton.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So
How did y'all know that it wasn't a smart lock inner CV?
Because I knew it.
Logan knew.
oh, are they different? No, that bike is the standard differential with a locker built in, so the Visco lock is the same. So the axles are the same in that bike and the old Visco lock. So we come to my shop, get everything, swing by O'Reilly's, we got everything, we're good.
Not only that, Cowboy broke an axle at the last ride he went to, the same axle,
That's
and
what
I had
we
already
figured it out.
ordered it once. So
That's where we figured out that they would still use the short and
short and long
stuff.
Yeah.
We should probably keep one of them fans on hand.
Oh, I am.
They
No,
probably
we've
keep
already-
3 of those fans.
Yeah, we
on
got
hand.
two for inventory.
I'm
here,
on my
so
4th fan in 3
Yeah,
years.
because you've
Man.
you've had a couple. I've had one. You've had one, and
I-
the only person that ain't had one.
this is what got me at Muddy Bottoms. I walk up to there and Brad, my man, he hustled out at Muddy Bottoms. He always takes care of us. Got us a voltmeter because we're over here with wires trying to figure out what's wrong with my bike. No, we didn't have a voltmeter, so it's swapping fuses and relays from this bike. Mikey had a wiring harness out there we cut up to go from the battery to the fan to try to figure it out. So I was already frustrated. I was literally like, bro, we can leave this thing if y'all don't.
Frustrated.
Yeah, frustrated. So, anyways, we get O'Reilly's fan. Logan tells us all that stuff, and I go up there. I was like, let me just see if they got one here. I go up to their, they have an outside company running their shop, and I was like, hey, man, y'all got a Can-Am radiator fan for Renegade Outlander? He's like, man, they call about 2 or 3 times every weekend for that. And I'm thinking, like,
You should have 5 then.
Yeah, well, freaking get some.
I
man.
was thinking, I was like, bro, you could be making $220 retail on them. I know they don't pay, $100 a fan. Anyways, so it was a disaster. But it all came together in the end because I get my fan out. Everybody's kind of helping. D got the worst part, the axle tip out. And I'm taking my fan out. We get back the universal one. I'm like, all right, cool. This is going to line up. No big deal. And I get looking at it, and I'm like, man, Logan said I had to cut all this up and zip tie it. I was like, looks like these bolt holes will line up. So I take the OEM fan apart, tear it apart, get the universal apart, drops right in, bolts right
Bolts
in.
right on.
It's a little bit smaller fan, which is fine. But the motor bolts right into the factory assembly. So boom, I bolt that in, bro. I grabbed second gear and went. I was ready to ride that night and tear it up again and fix it for the next day. It went so smooth.
How much was that O'Reilly's fan?
$50.
That's it.
That's what we need to do is just get one of those and bring it with us.
Yeah.
Just keep one of those with us.
Yeah.
1000%.
Especially knowing the motor just drops down. But his is a 19 bike, so it may be different than ours.
It's a smaller fan, don't sit close, but it kept my bike cool the whole time.
It ran the rest of the
Yeah.
time.
I had to cut the shroud off of my fan and zip tie the new shroud on the backside of it. But I mean, it worked.
You didn't have to.
Well,
It'd have
Dropped
bolted,
right in
it'd
there,
have bolted
bolts up.
right in.
I don't think it did, but
Anyways,
whatever.
I was laughing because I couldn't wait to tell Logan, like, bro, you cut yours all up. It
So
thing bolted
easy.
right in.
All right, so end of the is that the end of the night?
No.
Oh, it ain't.
Oh, no, sir.
But y'all at this point, y'all got both rigs back going.
We're back running. Everything's back good to go for the next day when we got the group ride. But like Quinton said, like everything's back running. We didn't get no riding. Everybody, including Cowboy, was ready to ride some more.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, he didn't even want to fix them. He's like, bro, let's just get in squatch and let's go mobbing through the park.
And so we ended up finding from Brad Hansen, the one of the managers of the park, that there's a little place that you can go. It's called the 19th hole at the very back of the park, where it's like a little bar hangout area.
I never been there before. I always seen the sign for it, but I literally never been there. I don't even think I've ever even seen it.
I thought it was a mud hole.
We drove by there like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But that's only, we don't ever go to that side of the park when we go ride.
I thought it was just that mud hole where
What I thought.
where
Because we
you-
talked about putting the jet skis in it, remember?
right where you broke your front diff that time when we went
It's
riding.
a legit like building.
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
gym.
bar?
It's a
Yeah,
gym.
it's cool.
It's a gym.
It's
if I
cool.
called it anything, it's a gym.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It kind of is. Kind of like that. But it's like a really cool little hangout bar. It's got a front bar and a rear bar. So we went there. And so when we rolled in, it was kind of shutting down, but Brad was with us. So they're like, hey, like everybody's got to go. And then just our group was able to stay in there and hang out.
Just
Except,
big dog and everybody.
Dude, you already know people licked up how this went. You gonna tell
man,
me?
there was still 2 more dudes hanging out in the bar and like one other lady. It's literally, it's on a golf course. So I know some regulars from around that neighborhood come and hang out there. So those people came in on cars and not on side-by-sides. Well, these 2 dudes were sitting there at a table, kind of spread out. It didn't even seem like they was really together.
That was kind of weird. It was odd.
And one chick. And so you walk in the door, one dude has got a sleeveless denim shirt, a pair of shorts on, and some cowboy boots.
American flag
that
cowboy
had
boots.
American flag like going up the leg. And then he had one of those motorcycle bandanas that tie in the back that's a little bit like a do-rag, but people wear them.
Mhm. That's my kind of people right there.
Well, apparently it wasn't Cowboys kind of people.
For real?
Yes.
Why he don't like Cowboy? Don't like that kind of people?
No, well, the
Bikers
dude,
or something?
the dude had an earring, but one of them was an earring on one side, and one of them was a chain with a
That
cross
dangled down, like hung down.
He sound like a redneck Johnny Depp.
Literally, yeah.
Yes.
Literally everybody already rolled out. So when we walk in the door, like everybody, the last 3 people are kind of looking at us like, hey, who's these dudes? And Cowboy walks in the door, looks at that dude, looks him up and down like
Well, the dude was staring at him too. Like they were mean mugging us because security had already kicked out the last 10 people in there, and they were like the last regulars there besides the back bar back here. This is the dance hall with the karaoke. We come in, one dude is still trying to sing karaoke over us on some busted speakers. They were so dude, they were literally, the whole place looked like it was outfitted by a garage sale. It smelled like an old leather boot. You step back a century when you walk in this place. I'm not even kidding you. If you swept your grandma's floor that your grandpa built back in the day, the house, and you smelled that dust, that's what this entire place smelled like.
All right.
No maintenance. You step back a century. You got this dude still trying to sing karaoke, not looking at the crowd. Nobody's in there.
And he's in there just jamming karaoke.
Just for the love of karaoke.
Man, it's hard out.
Just love karaoke.
Singing
The
it all.
most confusing golf clubhouse I've ever been in my life.
All right.
So we all talk for a minute and we're like, all right, cool, this ain't the scene. And then people see Cowboy and Dustin and they're talking to them for a minute, taking photos. And then they're like, man, y'all got to come back to the back bar. And I'm thinking, oh, it gets better.
All right.
So we go back to the back bar and you follow the smell of marbles with no filter.
That's how you know where to go.
Was it outside or inside?
No, it was inside.
It was?
Inside back bar. And they had bought all the furniture from an old bowling alley back here. All right. So we go back there. There's two girls, young girls bartending. They were family, you could tell. And then there was an older lady behind the bar dressed like she was 20 years younger. And then you have all the regulars. And so we walk back there and we leave D out on the dance floor. And I'll let him tell you what transpires after we leave him on the dance floor.
You was getting down out there?
One blonde-headed girl had him hemmed up. And that's why he was out there entertaining that conversation. And then the three regulars were still in there, and some of the security was still in there, but they kicked everybody else out. Like it was the regulars that could stay and us. So D's hemmed up, and I'll let him tell you what transpires when backup leaves.
Oh no, yeah. So me and the tracks, the Legion Motorsports dude, was standing outside having a conversation, like just chatting, and I see these dudes, those two regulars and that girl come out, and I could tell they were mad. And so that freaking
mad about what? Like because y'all was still there?
Because they let us stay. And they had to leave? Yeah, and everybody else had to leave. So it's just our group hanging out in there. They literally made everybody else leave and was just like hanging out with us, taking pictures. Like Quinton said, security was hanging out. Like they went to the back bar. So I'm standing out front in like the stumbling area, and like it's downhill. And those dudes are walking out. I can tell they're mad. The girls with them like, just don't say nothing. I'm like,
they already been talking about it.
Oh man, here we go.
Already had it on mind.
And so I seen the dude say into something to all the security guards whenever he walks out. He was like, you suck. You suck. And I was like, what is he saying? Well, he walked past us and he was telling everybody he walked past, you suck. You suck. You suck. So I like turned around and followed him as he walked away. And I was like, oh man. So they got down to the edge of the steps or kind of out towards the exit. And the girl was like, no, you don't go back. You don't say nothing. I was like, oh man, I'm the only one out here. Like this is fixing to pop off. So I walked around the guardrail to where they had to walk up the guardrail right in front of me. But like to where my power hand was behind me, because I thought he was coming to say something to me, and I didn't say nothing to those dudes. I don't know who those dudes are. So he's like walking up the steps. I was like, I'm just gonna freaking drop him whenever he walks by.
By you bend him?
Whenever he gets close. But he didn't look at me. He was just like looking at the door, like the ground, just storming up. And ultimately, he was just mad because the security guards was making them leave. Like he was like, I don't know why we got to leave and they could stay and all that. But he ended up never saying nothing to me. So I was like, oh man, like dodged a bullet.
Dodged a bullet right there?
Again on this
First one.
What was he saying when he walked by? He was saying, you suck?
To like everybody that he was walking out of the bar, like he was looking at the ground and going, you suck. You suck.
What?
Yeah.
But he wouldn't say it loud enough to where like he knew somebody would tell him like, what's up? What'd you say to me?
Did you say that I suck?
Yeah. So he was just going.
Now we got a problem.
Yeah. He was just going, you suck. You suck. You suck.
Under his breath?
Yeah, they were super sour. And what he didn't know is security said we had to leave too. Like they were just letting us say hey to everybody and we were getting out of there. Yeah. But he was acting like a child about it. So D almost got whipped.
And by myself, because what I came to find out is I ended up going back to the back room where they were all hanging out. And I walk in this room and it's Cowboy, Eric, Matt, Quinton, and a couple of more people lined up on the front side of the bar. And on the back side of the bar, like the serving side of the bar, there's like 6 different dudes and girls just walking around back there.
Behind the bar?
Behind the bar.
Bro.
To the point that I couldn't figure out who was supposed to be serving, who was the bartender, because I ended up, what was funny, and I realized like something squirrely's going on, is when I walked in, Quinton was like, hey, Sunshine, give Dustin a Coke. And this dude was just like, me? And so he's like, okay. Literally reached in the bar refrigerator, grabbed a Coke, handed it to me, And then I see maybe it was Eric come walking out behind the bar with a Reese's Pieces.
Oh my God.
Back in the kitchen.
Yeah, he went back to the kitchen, got a bag of Reese's, and came walking out just eating the food from the back. And like nobody's keeping track of who's the bartender. The regulars were just in there mixing their own drinks.
The precursor to this is, so we had already went back, and when we first walked in, there's all the regulars on this side of the bar. You had Deborah, Sean, I'm gonna call this dude Rooster. I don't even know what his name was. And the lady that owned the bar, an older lady, I believe, and then they said they were her daughters. She kept saying, "This, my two daughters are so beautiful," and she was talking to me. I was like, "Yeah, they're gorgeous."
And they're single.
Yeah, something like
trying to
that.
pawn
No,
them
they
off.
were married.
Still trying to pawn them off.
Yeah, they were married. And then by the time D gets back there, because it had progressed, they were giving people shots. And Cowboy's real weird, man. You think he was a super tough dude, but he ordered a whiskey sour and told him to hold the whiskey, and he got just sour.
Well, man, couldn't figure out why.
Dude, we were
my
cracking up. And then so him and Matt are drinking, and like, man, that thing just hits you back there in the cavities. Try this. And dude, it was just straight sour, and I was cracking up. And then it went 0 to 100 in 5 minutes. It progressed from all these people around the bar to being behind the bar, and I wasn't asking no questions. I was just like, okay, I guess they all own it. It's like a family establishment. And then I'm cracking up this time because people are grabbing drinks, they're giving shots, and you kind of hear somebody mumbling under their breath like, "Who's paying for this?" And they're like, "It's only $1 a shot." And I'm thinking like, every bar I've been to, it's like $7 a shot. I'm like, what is going on in here? Who is paying for this thing? Because I promise you, when they go to write payroll at the end of the week and Z out the register, something's not balancing out right. And so I'm laughing at this point. I'm like, yeah, sure, give me a shot, give me a drink, just seeing how far I can take it, joking. And then I see D walk in, and you can kind of see the bewilderment on his face. He's like, what is going on in here? Because in here it's dead. He just almost got beat up, and he's
No, sir. No, sir. That almost didn't happen.
yeah, he comes in, and he's like, what on earth? And so I'm laughing. I'm like, hey, Coke my boy and get him some frozen Reese's.
And some random dude.
Bro, that's weird in the back bar,
Gives
isn't
him a
it?
Coke.
Yeah.
It's weird in the back bar.
yeah, it was the bar and
Super
then
weird.
the kitchen. And
Where was you at?
I was asleep at the house.
Oh, you'd already
when
left.
when we broke all the stuff,
Oh, he knew better.
and then they were like, "All right, we're going back to Shreveport from Sarepta." I'm like, "Well, that's 50 minutes. They're gonna eat. That's at least an hour. That's another 50 minutes back." I was like, "No, Josh, you ready to hit the house?" Me, Josh, and Dale, we rolled out. I was like, "I'll be prepared for tomorrow."
Gone. So your boys,
me up, dude.
your boys didn't see none of this. So that is what got us to the end.
Man, that was the perfect pick me up that you needed after that verbal beatdown of that dude telling you, you suck.
I just
You really needed that.
I needed the help.
Yeah,
after
Cowboy
it.
called him a little girl, and then he had some Johnny Depp cowboy tell him that he sucked. So
Yeah.
So it's been a pretty eventful Friday so
But
far.
why I really thought it was going to pop off with that dude whenever they were walking out is whenever we walked in, and it was just those couple of dudes sitting in there. Cowboy stopped and looked at the dude mid-room, and it's another one of those things like those dudes didn't know Cowboy, like they're older dudes, so it wasn't
Yeah.
like they'd be scared of him. They'd be like, what? And then we had that whole bar torn apart.
Bro, how did he not just say, "Who are you talking to?" And then he like jumps up real fast and picks his chair up and like hits somebody over the back
that's
with
what
it.
I was waiting on.
Oh, bro, if he would have cracked Cowboy over the head with a chair, I'd have let him fight.
Yeah,
I would
for
have died laughing.
sure.
He'd have never heard the end of that.
And so that's just the first day. That's just the Friday.
Dude, it was...
Matt, we were like,
So
"All right,
much
what time
fun.
we gonna be there in the morning?" Me and Josh were thinking, and Dale were like,
Oh,
"We're
yeah.
gonna have to be there at like 8."
Originally,
Like,
we had told 'em.
it's gonna be bad. Cannon woke up in the middle of the night, and I looked at my phone, and DJ texted us at 2:30. Y'all don't even worry about it. Y'all just get out there. Like, we'll meet
Y'all
at the
was at-
shop at like 9:30,
We
10
talked
o'clock.
about this on the way
Yes.
back. We were so beat down. I was like...
And y'all
dude,
drove back too?
Oh, yeah.
every night.
Oh, yeah.
Cowboy was like, man, y'all be here early. And I told D, I said, why? Yeah, where did 8 came from him again? It was 3 a.m, and we had all been drinking except for D. And he's like, we get back to camp, and like me and him are like beat down, dude. And he's like, all right, I'll see y'all at 8 a.m. And we get in the truck, and me and D look at each other and said, bruh, let's do like 9:30 at the shop ish, and we'll leave and eat breakfast. And
Because
like,
he's about to get 2 more hours of sleep than y'all. He's
Yeah,
going to walk inside
exactly.
and go straight to
Yeah,
bed.
he goes- straight to
Exactly.
bed.
And then we got an hour drive home and an hour drive back in the morning. But we had originally talked about meeting up at the shop at like 8 o'clock. Me,
Yeah, I had my
Logan,
alarm set for
Josh,
like 6:30.
Dale, like we were all good. Well, then I got to driving home, and I was like, nah, I ain't gonna be able to make that.
Started getting crossed.
Yes. I said, I'm
Crossed
not
up.
gonna be able to make that. Let me just go and let them know as soon as I can. But as soon as I can was 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, 2:30 in the morning. It didn't wake me up. I saw it at like 4:30. I was like, let me go and change these alarms real quick.
it wouldn't matter. If your alarm goes off at 7:30, you're glad to see that text message even then. Oh, I'm good.
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
going back to
thank
sleep.
goodness. I get another hour of rest.
Quinton went to sleep right away.
Yeah, I'm not a good
when the
Popeye
truck-
man.
Oh yeah, dude. He slept the
bad,
whole
dog.
drive home, bro. I was literally scrubbing the drunk bumps the whole drive home. So had my head out the window, had AC/DC on, just trying to stay awake.
Fast as D with a pillow over his face with one of them neck things that hold his head
Oh
up.
yeah, just like
Just like
in,
that.
bro. Quinton was out. Had his dirty sock mud feet up on my dashboard.
My ankle's still messed up. Like my ankle's still. I've got fractured. I've got torn tendons and ligaments.
Torn
ligaments. Yeah, ligaments. That's both of them.
You got to keep it elevated, right?
You're supposed to.
On the dash.
They tried to put me in a
on
boot.
the dashboard.
They tried to put me in a boot, and I told them ain't happening. I got a mud ride this
How you
week.
supposed to spin kick somebody with a boot on?
You gonna get one good kick, and it's gonna light you up. You better knock them out with the first
and
roundhouse.
don't think that we didn't think we was going to have to.
Well, this is the funny part about the bar. Do you remember? So we show up to the park the next day, and Cowboy and Matt are already mad at us. You know, we rolled out of the bar. So they were all
Yeah.
still caught up in the bar BSing, right? They're drinking more, and Cowboy's at home with these people because these are his people.
Trashy.
Oh, he's got a mom in Louisiana now, 2 sisters that didn't even buy the mom. Rooster, the bartender, with the suspenders, because he was flexing on Cowboy. That older man, bro, was walking around behind the bar like this every time Cowboy would ask him for something.
Arms pinned back, chest
Dude.
pushed out.
Couldn't touch your shoulder blades no get they're harder. I'm telling you.
I think that's why he likes coming down here so much and likes motor riding so much, because it's like he was almost like born to do
Yeah.
this. Like these redneck trashy people like us, like he's the same. Like this.
that's-
Yeah, he was born in the wrong
Because the
area.
older ladies
his
in the
people.
bar, you could tell back in the day were dimes, so they were witty and funny. So they were cutting up with Cowboy and giving him a hard time like he was a regular person. So he was laughing the whole time.
love it.
So we leave, and keep in mind, we done ate 17 packs of Skittles, everything behind the bar.
All their Reese's.
all the Reese's Pieces.
The other funny
Everything
part
they
too
bought
is-
from Sam's.
Yes.
Yes.
100%. And what was the funny part to me that I don't think anybody noticed, I looked at the fridge, all the beer and whiskey. That's an old worm fridge from Walmart. Like it was literally an old fishing worm fridge. I swear to God. I saw
White with the white racks in it.
I
That's
swear to God,
exactly
right
what
now.
you're talking about.
The bar nuts were in old worm tubs. With the holes in them. So we leave, me and D shag out. And I'll be honest with you, I was so tired. I don't remember if we said bye or not. I think we were like, hey, Cowboy, we're going. But I think he was so caught up in it, he didn't hear us tell us bye. So the next morning, he steps out the door. First thing he says to me and D, y'all just threw the smoke grenade and was gone. I was like, what are you talking about, dude? He is big on like ride to die loyalty and friends
Really?
and like making sure you say bye. But we told him bye. I remember me and D giving him knuckles like, hey, bro, we're out. We're tired. So they stay there. But the next morning, he was mad about that. And then Matt goes, yeah, y'all stuck us with the bar tab. D don't even drink. He had one Coke and some frozen Reese's. And so I started laughing. I was like, what do y'all mean? He's like, yeah, they asked us right when they were closing up and everybody was gone. We were the last ones in there. Who's paying for this? I think Cowboy rolls in like kind of celebrity, like, oh, bro, he's got everybody. We're good. Because he kept asking too. He goes, hey, who's paying for all this? And I said, I don't know. I'm just going to drink till they say something. which I would have paid for it. I had my card on me, but I thought they were Southern hospitality, I thought they were just treating us. I don't know. Anyways, if we owe y'all, just let us know. So Cowboy, they apparently him and Matt up and them and like, who's paying for this? And he's like, I don't know. So he was mad about that right off the jump the next morning. So we were cracking up about that.
And when Quinton says the next morning, he means what time? What time do we roll in?
Y'all got there at 11:10,
11
11:15.
o'clock. So keep in mind, this is the day of the big S3 BMF
Big day.
Rough and Rowdy group ride. The
Big
first
day.
one we were
At 2 o'clock.
Big day at 2 o'clock. We roll in at 11:30. Still haven't found a good trail to ride because we tore up the day before in the first 15 or 20 minutes. So now it's like, all right, we got to get our stuff together. Like we're having a bunch of people come ride with us. We got to figure out where we're going to take these people. So, all right, let's take a ride. So we jump on the bikes, man, and like everything's back running. We're good. Let's go find an easy trail. We're staying away from that blue trail. And so we take another little trail that we know is easier. Found a super cool little play hole, little water creek to do water wheelies.
Mind you, it's
Hold on.
just the other end of the blue hole,
No,
not the
hold
blue
on.
trail.
We need to get a sign made. We're naming that. That's the Muddy Bottoms wave pool. That's the wave
Yeah.
pool.
Where? Which one?
I ain't
Dude, it
never
was
been
so
to this
sweet.
spot.
We'll have to take
It's
you
the
out there.
sweetest spot I've ever
But
been
the
to.
way
Really?
it is, it drops down into a creek with vertical, probably 4 foot tall walls, And the water's about 3 foot deep from end to end for probably a quarter mile.
Yeah.
So literally,
that's sweet.
it's just 2 bikes wide, so you can weave in, go past each other like water wheelie from one end to the other. It's a really, really cool place to ride.
It's one of the sweetest places I've ever been to back there.
And so we're fired up. We're like, all right, cool. We got a good trail. It's an easy ride. There's a good play spot that people can either get in and ride with us and
Spectate.
water wheelie, or just watch us act up on our rig. So we're like, cool, we got it. Made a loop, come back up the easy gravel road. We know everybody can make that comes with us. And so we're like, all right, let's go back to camp. Now, this was 1:30 when we come out of the woods. Woo. We got 30 minutes to get back to camp.
Cutting it close.
Oh, yes, sir. 30 minutes to just get back to camp. You know,
Pound some monsters because we're still tired from the night before.
pound out some monsters because we're getting a little faded now. Get something to eat real quick and meet everybody at 2. And so on the way back to camp, is the sand pit.
Oh man.
And so I know how it works. You know what I mean? Like everybody's feeling good, everybody's feeling fired up. We want to go meet each other, but everybody, hey, let's clean our bikes off before we go. I'm like, let's not, man. Let's just run through the buggy wash. Let's go back to camp. Cowboy's like, bro, let's go by the sand pit. Let's take Eric to the sand pit. I'm like, nah, man, let's not do that, dude.
Logan knows how that ends up.
I already know. 1, because I'd done it, and 2, because I had already put my bike through the buggy wash twice. I was like, I know this is where I'm going. I'm going to camp. This is what you need to do.
Yeah, I pull up beside D and he goes, man, we got to keep him away from that. And I was like, yeah, we're doing good. Like, that was a cool little rip, and we played more than we probably should have. Because when we saw the wave pool, we forgot about the trail ride scout. I was like, we played around in it for a while. D had to pull the reins back. He's like, hey, bro, let's get out of here. And we're good. Everything's still running. The trail ride's in a few minutes. We'll gather everybody up, and let's see how this turns out. And somehow we end up over by that. It's like a magnet.
Man,
Because we didn't even have to come that way. It's like a magnet.
No, it didn't have to go that way. We went 150 yards out of the way
Yeah, we did.
to go over there by it.
And we knew it was dangerous because it was deep. That weekend, a couple weeks ago, we played in it with Ken
Oh,
Block.
yeah.
It was
Oh,
deep
yeah.
then. Well, it was completely full now. Well, on our way out to the trail, we see a razor above the headrest sank.
Big razor.
A
Oh,
big
really?
lift
I didn't
razor.
see that.
Oh, yeah,
6,
that
8
black
foot
and
deep,
lime
probably.
green.
That one hole at the very
Probably
end.
6 foot deep.
That one hole at the end, it was crazy deep now, bro.
Yeah,
you
it
really
was-
couldn't take nothing.
Bro,
through
we
it.
almost
8 foot
lost a
deep.
couple bikes out there when it was completely drained.
Yeah.
And now it was full.
Full.
So I was like, all right.
Okay, all right.
I told Quinn, I said, we have to keep them away from that end. Like, we have 30 minutes before the ride.
And that was the end that they were having fun in at the Ken Block ride.
Yeah.
So they were like, let's go there. That's going to be the spot.
And so I told them, like, I even stopped Cowboy and Eric and them said, no, we cannot. Me and Quinn just saw a razor sank in that hole. Like, we can't go right over there. Let's just ease through here, wash the bikes off a little bit, follow me, because I know where the holes are. Follow me through here. We'll wash the bikes off, we'll go to camp, we're good to go.
Yeah, and
no
Eric,
problem.
Eric was on your bike. I was like, hey, man, stay behind me. Do not go faster than 1 mile an hour if you are not behind somebody because it will drop off quick. And that's the shallow end. I wasn't worried about nobody on this end of it. That's the super shallow end where you can just rip across. So D takes off across there, and I'm like, I guess we're going to do what we said we're going to do. And I told Eric, I was like, man, look, do not sink. This is where stuff gets sunk, 100%. So D takes off through there. Cowboy's right behind him. And the holes that aren't normally deep were borderline. They were. There was
They
a
were
couple,
deep.
but they were
deep?
Yeah, but they were safe enough to where you could hop off and they were shallow. You know, it's just those holes. D's ripping through there, and I'm like, dude, those are getting deep. And I look back at Eric, and my eyes are big. In between that, time looking back at him, going, hey, man, that one's deep. Let's me and you take a left out. Cowboy done took a hard Randy.
But he took
you
a hard.
serious?
He took a hard Randy because DJ went through like the first 2, and they were probably 3.5, 4 foot deep. So you could water wheel him. The next one he went to was deep. Like it.
Over your
I know how deep it was because I stood in it with Riley. It was
those-
5.5 foot deep easily. It
Those
was at
little
my
sippy
shoulders.
holes on the right.
Yep, the
Yeah.
left.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
left.
Where
if
it's
you're
a
heading back
long
towards
yeah,
camp.
yeah.
line of them, you know,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you can
yeah.
just hit one, go to the
Yep.
next one, go to the next
I know
one.
exactly what you're talking about.
So he went through that one. It was like 5.5 foot deep, and it was him, then Cowboy, then me. Well, Cowboy looks at it, and he's like, I don't know about that. So I'm just going to veer off to the right a little bit. As soon as he veered, I was like, all right, well, I'm hitting it. So I went through it. By the time I got out of the hole and up to the shallow part, and I look up, and DJ's face is just stone
man.
cold, and I already knew what
Man.
happened.
He found a deep one.
Oh, dude,
It's never been there.
Whenever I turned
Mm-hmm.
around, all I saw was Cowboy like waist deep standing there, and I was like, well, where'd the bike go? Like, did he go park it on the shore and just walk out here to wash off? No.
Tail lights, and that's literally
Outlander.
That speaker box
Feels like it.
was the only thing out of the water.
Oh, yeah. Outlander
I
was
hadn't even
under him.
seen it yet.
And Quinn was kind of blocking the back half of the bike, so I literally couldn't see the bike at all. I could just see Cowboy standing in water. And I seen it bubbling right in front of him. I was like, oh, man, what on earth, dude? It was the Outlander. Underwater. Now we're 15 minutes from the group ride.
Literally, what you didn't want to happen, just your worst nightmare. Your worst nightmare.
Let's go one more time. One more ride.
Yeah, he said the one more. Let's go through one more hole.
Let's hit one more hole before the group ride.
Oh, man.
And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, he's the last person I expect because he normally follows D. And I was like, dude,
But Quinton's right. Like,
dude,
that hole's never been there. I don't remember it ever being there.
It's never been deep over there. It's always been shallow. And I was like, bro, you're supposed to follow D. I was like, you're done. That's it. The bike. And then D comes up and Cowboy's looking at him like this bewildered face. And he's like, what are y'all doing? Help me get it out. I was like, no, this thing's done.
Yeah, it's done. It don't matter if it stays in there 5 minutes or 5 hours.
He said, I shut it off as soon as it went under.
So we're probably good, right? We're good, right?
I said, you see them bubbles?
He's facing us.
You ain't good.
And when we say bubbles, we're not talking about bubbles. Like literally the water looked like it was boiling, like rolling. And it was so much water was
like
dumping.
he was getting ready to make some mac and cheese on the stove.
Yeah, and so
in the air box, in the bell box, like everything full.
Dude, y'all going to be late for the ride at this point because now you can't just leave it in there. In there.
Right. We thought about it.
We got to struggle to get this thing out. And he kept like, man, you think it's good, right? Like we can just start it and get it running for the ride, right? It'll run for a while. It's like, dude, it's like a 4-hour process to get this thing flushed. Like, that's it. That's it. It's over.
Done.
It's done. This Outlander is just getting parked. Like, that's over.
Bro, your boy Eric, though, that was riding yours, shout out to him because that terrified him. Dude, he followed Quinton up on the side of the bank, and I turn around and look at him. I'm standing in that deep hole by now with Riley crossing over to get a strap. And, dude, he's got 3 tires completely out, and he's got 1 tire in the water, and he's like,
like he couldn't get it. Yeah.
He's terrified there was a hole right there.
Yeah,
I told him, I was
mortified.
Like, get out of the sand pit. Get out. We're going to get this out. And he's like, all right.
I just walk up to the tire. I'm like, you good, bro. You can pull out of there.
That thing already been 10-20 one time.
Yeah, don't 10-20 that thing again.
So now our entire group and now Cowboy is part of the 10-20 crew. Mm-hmm. Like he passed the grass line, 10-21, Outlander, done for. That's the end of the weekend for his rig.
I ain't never seen one of them gone, though. Like disappeared. Mm-hmm. That was gone.
Yeah.
Like when I did mine was like bleep, in the water and out of the water. No, it was gone for a solid 5 minutes.
Yeah, the front rack was 2 foot under the water. Oh, yeah, I went wheels up.
Oh, did you? I wasn't there for that.
Remember that?
Bro, yeah, I remember. He ended up with a fish in the air box.
Oh, my God.
That's called 02011. When you put it upside down, that's 10-20 upside down.
He did them upside down water donuts.
Yeah, bro, he was walking the dog in a circle on that thing before he let it go.
Sabine?
Oh, no, that was where the grass line originated.
Yeah, that's where that originated.
Yeah, that's where.
No, I missed that one.
So now it's time for the group ride. Outlander's gone, out of commission. Nothing for Cowboy to ride.
But after we got to
stayed
the
at
camp, bro, we put the Outlander on its end, and DJ started pulling the caps off the airbox and everything to let everything drain.
Water
And Cowboy's still up until this point, like he's like, I'm gonna get this thing to run. I'm gonna ride this, bro. We pulled the air filter out, and it was just spoosh, just poured out.
Water. Yeah.
Macaroni and cheese water,
Full
just
water.
dude, it was bad.
I've never seen somebody so disappointed in what they did because he was just like standing in the motor. He's like, "Are you serious? This is done." He goes, "Man, like he was looking forward the most to the group ride. Like, bro, I get to freaking show out in front of everybody. Like, they're here to see me, a group, like our first group ride." Dude, he was so disappointed.
He really was.
Dude, and for us, it's like, because it's happened to all of us at some point. We're like, man, crap, freaking something on my bike. Like, how much is this going to cost? For him, it's probably not the same. It's probably like, crap, now I can't ride no more.
It's literally what he said. Yeah. Like, he wasn't worried about that part. He was like, how can we fix this thing in 10 minutes?
Yeah. That's what he
and we were like, it ain't getting fixed in 10
He's like,
minutes.
"Are you sure?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, we're 100%. Like, you'll tear up this from go from $3,500 to $6,000." He's like, "Ooh." He's like, "Man, are you sure?" And like, we met at camp, and like, dude, it was worst possible.
While we were having these conversations with him, there was still water coming out one of the drains. One of the drain holes. It never stopped.
Was getting it.
Poor dude.
So we gotta meet. Now it's done. Like, drop it off at camp. We gotta meet everybody at the buggy wash right then. So we were like, all right, Eric, take one of Quinton's spare rigs. It's supposed to stay clean, just trail riding rig. Cowboy, jump on Dustin Henderson's rig just to get.
Oh God!
I was like, R.I.P.
just to get the group ride done. So we're like, all right, let's roll out. Let's go meet everybody. So me and Quinton pull up there. There's surprisingly a huge crowd of people out there.
Really?
That came to ride with us.
Like, how many people?
I don't know, probably like 4, 5, 6, 7 people.
We didn't know, like you said, we didn't know. We were like, man, maybe the buggy wash wasn't a good spot because you couldn't tell who was there to wash the buggy wash.
Yeah.
It was the busiest I ever seen the buggy wash.
And you didn't want to be
without
like,
doubt.
y'all here for the group ride? No, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
what
well,
group red idiot?
So we just played it cool and was like, oh man, just hope, because it was packed. We weren't sure. We were like, man, we just hope they're here with us. So come to find out, they were. We started handing out monsters and koozies and stuff like that. And like people's like, all right, let's go. So I was like, Quinton, before we roll out, like, let's let them know. Because we hung out there for a minute, talked to people, took some pictures, handed stuff out.
koozies and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was like, all right, Quinton, I want them to know, like, it's go time. And so instead of just starting them up and putting them on the rev limiter like we usually do, I was like, bro, let's go nose to nose and just burn the tires to the ground right here at the buggy wash, and then we'll roll out.
On the concrete pad.
Yeah, on
All
the
right.
concrete pad. So I was like, cool.
I like that idea.
So we pulled in, nose to nose, wrecked it a couple of times. Like, everybody started getting the cameras out because they knew, and we just stood there on the freaking rev limiter.
Full
just,
tilt.
Yeah,
Both of y'all?
Oh, yeah, just burning the tires.
Bro, and y'all's exhaust.
So
you probably
loud.
couldn't hear nothing else over the exhaust.
Well,
just ear tingle.
See, that's the problem. I started feeling a little vibration, but I
you
couldn't
did.
hear nothing. And so I was like, what on earth? But I just kept her held down. You know what I mean? And I felt like, man, I don't think mine's pulling. I kept looking back at my tires and instantly motor off, tire stop, kaboom, done, stopped. It's like, oh man, what on earth, dude? And this is like, all right, we're going to the trail now. We're leaving. I'm finna put in reverse. We're going to trail. Bike, boom, shut off. It's like, what on earth? So I was like, all right, let's just rock it back and forth. Like, maybe it wasn't that bad. What's going on? Ended up, blew a belt right
man.
there trying to do a burnout, wrapped up in the clutches, shut everything off. Bike wouldn't roll. So I was like, all right, Logan, run back to camp.
Big job.
Get the tools. Let's try to let Cowboy entertain these people, talk to people, like, have fun. Me and Quinton will swap this belt. So we started tearing that thing apart, dude.
We got 50 people waiting. 50
literally
bikes.
standing
yeah,
there.
50 bikes.
Because we'd already been there 10 minutes, like, giving people free stuff, hanging out, talking to everybody. So they're like, all right, cool, let's go. And then it's like, all right, never mind, we're not going. And so everybody's like, well, on earth.
Like what? What's
Yeah,
happening?
what's going on? So me and Quinton scrambling, tearing the belt box apart, like pulling the belt off, swapping belt. Didn't have the clutch tool, so we started like a little kid's bicycle chain, trying to walk the belt on there by rolling the rig forwards and spinning the tires. Finally got that thing on. But I didn't look in the belt box good enough. All I knew was there was only like 1 or 2 pieces left. So I was like, all right, maybe you just spit it out. Didn't spit it out. Went up the snorkel hole, but I already put the belt box on, started up, and just sounded like ball peens slapping around inside the belt box. And I was like, bro, we got to go. Like, we can't take it back apart. Everybody's going to be like, we're never riding with these dudes again. So I was like, let's go. So took off, man, ripping through the woods, hitting the holes, like having a good time. Ended up, it stayed together. Like, didn't have no trouble. Had a good ride. Like, everybody had fun. We got down to the old snake hole. The old, what'd you call it?
No, that's the wave pool.
Muddy
The
Bottoms
wave pool.
the
We
wave
got
pool.
to the Muddy
We'll make a
Bottoms wave pool. And so, like, everybody lines up around the sides. Big crowd there. Like, it's time for us to show out. So it's us down in the hole playing, me, Quinton, Logan, and Cowboy, just water wheeling back and forth, just acting up, bombing them off the side, like dropping them into the hole, having a good time.
Mine too.
No, yours stayed on the side. Yes, his too. You
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, no, Dee's the only, I think Dee's the only one that ramped in. I was thinking about my ankle. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to end my day. I'm going to let him have that glory. You can ramp your bike in. What was freaking cool about it, though, is when you would meet head on, you'd get going so fast, and it's so narrow, there'd be a wave like 2 foot tall, 3 foot tall, and it would curl over. And when you would hit, each bike would hit it, it would pick the bikes up off the bottom. And
Yeah,
you
float
like,
them.
ramp
It
the
would
wave.
float them for a
Yeah,
second.
like you're in the freaking wave pool.
Yes,
Yes,
100%.
like
Quinton came, there was like one little dog leg in the middle of the long deal. And Quinton came around that dog leg, and I was water wheeling, and him and Cowboy were in a line just pushing that wall of water. And I was like, they're going to sink my bike right here, right
Literally,
now.
it would. If you weren't water wheeling, it would
would
sink
go
real
high.
high.
It was
It would go high
easily made a 3 foot deep water area, 5 to 6 foot deep.
Yeah.
Like, it was a wall of water. And I was just like, all right. So I just wrapped it and leaned back as much as I could. And literally, when they came together, it picked both bikes up
It
and
turned
like
mine sideways.
moved them in
Turned
the hole.
sideways.
I was scared to death. I was like, he's gonna sink my bike
Freaking
right
sweet.
here.
I'm
So
gonna
I
have
just picked it
to.
up.
I'm gonna have to remember that when we go back to Cowboy's place, because the first time I was there, when we borrowed his stuff, I was like, man, I'm gonna take real. I'm gonna take real good care of this stuff. It ain't mine. I don't want to tear none of Cowboy's stuff up. Here he is over here just trashing,
Thrash
on
down
mine, ramping it off.
Oh, bro.
Oh yeah, I remember that Cowboy.
It was fun. Everybody piled down the trail and watching around, so it was super cool.
It was, man. It was a good
Until-
time. And like and so we're done. We're done playing. We stayed there for 30 or 45 minutes, like just helping people pull the rig out of the water hole, like just water wheels playing. So they're like, all right, let's keep riding now. Like, I hollered down at Quinton and Cowboy's like, hey, get everybody fired up. Let's go. And so Quinton gets down there on the rev limiter a couple times, racking his bike up, rides a couple of water wheelies, hollers at everybody. He's like, hey, let's go. It's like, follow me. Puts it in reverse. Reaches for the old yellow override button. Stands her up, nose wheelie in the water, lets it back down, gets back down on it. Kapow.
Blow the front
Axle
drive.
too?
No, blow the front drive shaft out of it.
Blowed the front. Literally, you could hear it underwater. Like when you drop a black cat underwater and it goes, whoop.
Yeah, that's what it was?
Yeah. You hear, right da whoop. And you're like, oh, dang. And the bike stops moving. So he's like, all right, cool. Don't worry about it. Spins around, pulls up the hill, gets turned around, starts ripping it up to get everybody fired up. Rips it up again and you hear, rack, tack, 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 tack. Oh. He was like,
Dude, the bike went to like a tooth jump metal vibration. Like it would shake the whole motor and the clutches and all the transmission assembly. It was going bow, 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 bow.
Using 0 wheel drive.
No, it would go, but it was just
every 3 rotations.
Yeah,
right.
it would jump teeth real loud. So I take off down the short court drill that D told me. He's like, hey, that's the quick way back to camp. I'm like, cool. So we get all the way down this hill and it's barely pulling it high. And like, dude, as soon as it put any load on it, it just stripped everything out. And I would go in reverse and it stripped. And I'm like, well, maybe it's not transmission, it's the rear diff. It was the rear diff. It's completely stripped out. I'm in the middle of the woods. I can't see anything close. I can't hear anybody. I'm on the trail. Nobody rides. There ain't a mud hole on it. And I'm down in a creek bottom. And so I was like, man, I start looking through the trees. I'm like, oh, that looks clear over there. That's got to be camp. So I strike off walk up to some dudes filling up. And I'm like, hey, bro, like, can y'all just pull me right here to the bounty hole? My buddies are over here. They hook up to me. Thank God, pull me over to the bounty hole. They're nowhere to be found. I was like, bro, pull me back to camp because D said he'd meet me back at camp. I get back to camp. They're all there washing off, shooting the breeze. I ain't even worried about where Quinton is. They're all just having a good time talking about how much fun they had on the back half.
Didn't even notice that you wasn't there.
Nope. And I go, bro, where are we at? He's like, I told you I was meeting you back at camp. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. So anyways, we...
Mind you, the bounty hole was so far away from where we came out, like not even close
600, 700, 800 yards.
to where we were supposed to come out.
Anyways, get back to
So
camp.
far away.
And now we're ready to head to the
oh,
bounty
no,
hole.
you wasn't the only one that was late to camp. And so,
Who else was?
Cowboy.
He was?
Cowboy.
the star guest.
Yeah.
What was he doing?
Well, when we left the group, he was literally right with me. I was like, look, dude, let's just rip through here. We'll get out this trail. We'll go. So he's like, all right, let's go. And so he's literally right behind me. There's nobody between me and him. All he has to do, once again, is just follow me. Just follow me. And so we're at camp, like getting everything ready to go to the bounty hole. Bro, and he rolls up freaking covered head to toe. And he rolls in just like Quinn. Bro, y'all you just going to leave me like that?
You know, immediately when you see everybody relaxing, having a good time, if you didn't have a good time, you're like,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
You're even more pissed
Oh,
about
yeah,
it.
you're
Veins
pissed.
start popping out
Yeah,
your
you're
neck.
He was so mad. And I guess he felt like I left him out there, but even though he was just right behind me following my trail, because he jumps off the bike, flips me off, like starts saying something else. Josh was like, bro, I thought you and him was fixing to fight again.
Second time?
Yes.
He was mad.
Dude, he was so mad. I was just steady laughing at him the whole time because he literally,
Looked like an idiot.
bro, his eyelids to his to his ankle.
beat us back?
I think what you said, hindsight, he told you, he said, I told you I was going to hang back to make sure the whole group ride made it out of the woods. He must have, because that trail left or right of the trail we picked was meant to be easy. We're like, hey, let's find a dry trail that everybody can go around the mud hole so we're not winching out everybody the whole time. After the bounty holes run with you, bro, and we'll take them down and we're just going to hit every hole till the bikes. No, if everybody breaks and we're winching, cool. That's the trail ride. They got the trail ride.
Hang on. What bike was he on when he showed up covered in mud?
Blue. We couldn't tell. We didn't know what color it was.
For
So,
real?
yeah, you couldn't
Oh,
tell.
okay.
Whenever he showed up, I don't
It probably wasn't mine.
Nah, you couldn't tell.
You already know, no supervision. He's the type of person that don't know any better about the CVT and the bikes and stuff. He just gets in rips. You know, he was hooking everybody's winch line up to the back of your bike, just pulling them instead of using it.
High range.
Oh,
smoke.
bro, it
It don't make
Oh,
any
man.
sense though, because we stayed. I don't know where he went because Josh got stuck, and we had to get Josh out. And when we came back out of there, he wasn't nowhere to be found. So I don't know where he went.
So who got him out?
Don't
Unstuck?
know. No, he just came rolling up by himself.
Don't know.
He probably
Covered.
He probably learned some tactics from watching you get his bike unstuck the day
The
before.
whole, yeah, the whole end of the group ride was with Josh and us.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he went, bro,
So
or who he was with. He may have been with some people that weren't even on the
He
ride.
just went off cutting them Reggies and Larrys again like
Oh,
he did
yes.
in the
Oh, yeah.
in the sand pit.
Yeah. And then we were
Yeah.
scheduled to be at the bounty hole at 3 o'clock. And so our ride was at 2, so we knew we had just that quick trail. Well, it turned into a big job whenever Quinton broke that front drive shaft and the rear end.
Yeah.
Shocker.
And so now we scramble to get back to camp. We're waiting on Quinton to get back because his rig's broke. We couldn't leave him behind. We're waiting on Cowboy. He comes rolling up, so he washes off. Like, we jump in all the rigs and we ride over to the bounty hole because we were supposed to be there at 3, so now it's like 3:45 when we come rolling up. Still a huge crowd, but we're down to just a few people, and so we were like, all right.
Didn't we sponsor it too? Didn't we sponsor something like that?
Yeah.
Bounty
we
hole
did.
or something?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll say we did.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll
okay,
say it was
yeah.
the S3 Muddy Bottoms.
All right.
I mean, they had the
Bounty
Defender
hole.
they had the Defender
Pretty
Pro
well did.
anyway, so that's sponsored. Not
They had the what?
The Pro, the Chem Block build.
Pretty well did.
Oh, it was down there?
They were doing the
Yeah, I seen some
microphone stuff out
randos in
of
the
it.
back of it.
But they did. Some people announcing, so we roll up, and Quinn's like, man, it's
Was there
not
a bunch of people?
a bunch of people, dude.
Yeah,
People-
there was a lot of people around
people
the bounty hole.
everywhere. So we show up and we start handing some stuff out. So like everybody starts getting a little bit hype. But Quinn was like, man, it's kind of dead around here. Let me try to MC this thing. The old dude did not want to give the mic to Quinn.
Really?
What'd he say to you?
I asked Brad, I said, hey man, I said, can I get on the mic? And Brad's like, yeah, tell him to give it to you. I was like, I said, well, he's on it. And he goes, he works for me. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I walk up there. I was like, hey man, I get a climb up the bed and standing there, and dude kind of looks at me when I walk up before I say anything. And I was like, hey, you want to, being nice. I'm like, bro, give me the mic. I was like, hey man, you want to give me a shot and show me how to do it? And he was like, do what? And I was like, get on the mic. He's like, now why would I do that? Like, being smart,
But
not
you're
want to tell me
talking
no.
slow country voice.
Yeah.
He got them, God, what kind of glasses are they? Like little bitty Ray-Bans, but they're super dark, but they're small like this. So he just kind of looks over them.
like he's from The Matrix.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're
Like the
talking
Matrix
about.
classes.
Bro, just a character.
But all he was doing was introducing who was in there,
Yep.
telling what rig it is, and then just stand there in silence, like let him go. And Quinn was like, nah, we can do better than this. So Quinn takes over the mic.
You
Don't
did it?
have to trash them.
Yeah,
You did it at,
Brad told me.
You did it at the, what ride was that?
Whenever we went up to Disney.
Yeah, you did it there. You did it pretty good.
Dude, that must have
yeah,
just
that was
that
funny.
must have just been a practice run because
Yeah.
he had everybody, including me, freaking rolling.
You know he'd been practicing at home probably.
Man, had me roll. Dude, he was bombing them with
Really?
one-liners.
And he only had one person go, but they was in the pit for so long during the actual competition. But then once the free riders started getting in, when the competition was over, bro,
It was so funny.
Trashing
so
them.
funny.
Like Aussie Man interviews or whatever it is.
Dude, it
Yeah.
was funny.
Trashing the people in the hole, trashing the people walking around the hole. Like, if you were standing there, you were getting trashed.
Is this on video? Because I want to see this.
Oh yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
sure.
Dude, he was heckling the dudes in there trying to make it through the bounty hole, like sweating, working. He was yelling at people in the crowd.
Was they laughing?
Oh, dude,
They was?
They was laughing or crying, one or the
it's
other.
dicey, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how much. It's midday. I don't know how funny they think it's going to be. If you want to heck them a little bit because it's got to be at somebody's expense. But I was trying not to do too much to really piss them off, and it worked out good. I was like, man, I don't know how this is going to go. All right, people are laughing. Cool, we got some of them laughing, and then I look down, D and them are dying, and it just you feed off of it. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, let's keep going. Let's see how far we can go.
Anybody
talking about
with a,
people's girlfriends?
Bro, girlfriends, anybody with a PFG or Columbia shirt on, they got the vents in the
With-
back.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. She's like, oh, another fishing shirt. Come on over here.
Bro, them dudes is willing to help people out. Yeah, every dude that was willing to get muddy or dirty helping out, bro, had Crocs on,
Coasters
frat-
with the bands on the back.
frat boy shorts, like good Sunday shorts. The PFG shirts with the vented back for putting in on the big jobs, and Costas with the strap. Still had their big country wallet with the buckshot shell on.
Oh, yeah. The big, tall area wallet where it's half hanging out with a
Just
wad of
anything,
cash.
anything relatable, dude. They were cracking up,
dude,
Yeah,
it
but them.
was
Shout out to them dudes in the fishing shirts, bro. They will help you out in a bind.
That's the Muddy Bottom starter pack, isn't it?
100%.
Man,
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be honest, dude. If anybody needs some MC work, your boy Quinton Daniels is in the market, and he's killing the game when it comes to MCing. If you want people laughing at your ride, QD's the man.
MC
to go.
fire birthday parties, little kids.
Man.
Oh, yeah. You got a little
Everything.
kid's birthday party. You want to
Sweet
get heckled?
16.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to. We got to figure out how to carry around one for the bikes because I think that would be really funny on the group rides and when we kind of get a crowd around some of those rides and we hit those big holes.
Yeah.
To commentate.
Oh yeah, to stand around like at
That would be
back
funny.
door and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So while we were there, I get down there handing everything, like handing monster koozies out, like stickers and keychains and all kind of stuff. Well, I look around, somebody's yelling. There's a snake in the pit. There's a snake.
That's sweet, but that That ain't really that uncommon.
No, not at all. So when I seen it, I was like, oh, dang, look at this. And he kept swimming back and forth. And like I was walking down close to it to kind of see what it was, but it was muddy. And so I couldn't really see the snake that good.
To tell what kind it was?
Yeah, to tell what kind it was. But like I was looking at it, people weren't like scattering. So I was like, okay.
How long was it?
I don't know. It was probably 2.5 foot long.
Bro, it was
maybe 3 foot.
Fattest water snake I'd have seen. I would have thought for
About
sure
3
it's
foot.
poisonous.
I
Like
heard
it's
it was
too,
like
it's too big.
6 or 8.
Yeah, it was probably 6 or 8 foot.
was.
It's the best I remember. I couldn't get close enough, and it was too muddy for me to see its eyes to know if it had those cat eyes or if it had a V-shaped head. But like it popped up one time pretty close to me. I was like, I don't think, man, that thing's not poisonous. Like that's not a V-shaped head. You know, we
Of all of us, you are the snake expert.
I am. I have quite
I-
a extensive.
I trust you.
It's with large snakes.
Yeah, I trust you. If you
Yeah.
tell me something ain't poisonous, I'm gonna trust you.
I didn't 100% trust myself, but he came up close to the edge of the pit, and I felt like, all right, people's minds will probably explode if we just grab this snake out of the pit. And I was 85% sure it wasn't going to be like a water moccasin or something poisonous. And I'm like, I can move pretty quick. Like, I can see this snake. I've seen Steve Irwin grab them, and like, they don't spin around on him. They like
Snake
try
never
to-
got him anyway. That was Stingray.
Exactly.
So you good.
So like when he grabs them, they usually like try to pull their head away. And so I'm like, all right, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. So I'm holding my monster, holding the box, reach down, grab that snake at what you would consider a snake waist. Like if a snake had.
Oh yeah, around the snake hips.
Yeah.
yeah. All
I
right.
grabbed him right around the snake hips, thinking like I had time to get him up, set him on the ground, and like reposition, grab him right behind it. As soon as I touched mid-body, hips on this snake, spun around, bam, bit me.
He actually touched his snake unmentionables. And
God,
that's
that was
why
close.
I got him.
Maybe that's why.
Right, right below his hips.
Maybe I thought I was at the hips and grabbed his bathing suit area, spun around, bow, popped me.
Nope rope got you right.
No,
on.
no, bro.
Too much snake slack.
Yes.
Hey.
Immediately stung me.
Where?
Started bleeding on top of the hand.
Well, I don't even see nothing.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Stung me on top of the hand. Started
Right here?
Yeah. Started bleeding out though, right when he bit me. And so I was like, oh my, and like you kind of hear me yelling, like I was kind of
front of
laughing.
everybody?
Yeah, I was kind of laughing.
It's a commitment yell of fear, like knowing, like, bro, I committed to this. The crowd wants to see me hold on to it. I'm already bit. I just got to hang on to it. But it was some fear in the yell.
Did he like tag you and let go, or
Oh
like
no,
tag
sir.
you and hold
Lock
on?
down. And then he started rocking his head back and forth.
Doing
on
a squirt on you?
Grinding into my hand. So I was like, oh, dang. So like I kind of shook him loose and held for a second. I was like, all right, we're good now. Spun around immediately. Kapow! Hit me.
Again?
Again, dude. Again.
At
So
this
then-
point, you don't know if he's dumping venom in your arm or what.
Exactly. And his little teeth are like tearing. I'm immediately bleeding from the snake bite. Immediately. And so second one, like shook him loose, immediately bleeding in the next spot. And so I went to like try to shuffle my hands up to his neck as quick as I could, spun around to get me again. No, sir. But when I went to let him go, like I jerked my hand back, and when I did, threw him into the corral.
He did do that.
Oh my god.
Threw him, almost hit Josh holding the camera, and threw him into the crowd behind me. Not on purpose. I just jerked my hand back and freaking.
Slung him backwards.
And you talk about freaking scattered, because these
Hollering.
people just watched me get bit twice by this thing, and when I let it go, it went towards them. Bro, people was gone.
Bro, it was the Bluff City boys behind you.
There was Jordans sitting everywhere.
Jordan's vape sticks.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, koozies, empty koozies,
All over the
full
ground.
koozies, just
Dude, they
all over the
burned out of their
You know,
Crocs.
people pushing their old ladies in.
Oh yeah,
It was a bridge,
There was
a bridge
two
of
kids.
girlfriends.
There's two
my
kids
God.
on the ground. They was getting trampled.
Sure was. Immediately after I got
What was everybody doing when you was over there getting bit? Nobody tried to come help you?
just no. Dale was just literally staying there, not
you
even
serious?
filming, just watching me get bit by the snake.
He didn't offer to even give you a hand?
No, literally was just standing there holding the camera, watching because he wanted to see the show. That's a true
To
story.
be honest, I ain't surprised.
I'll show you the picture of it.
Don't surprise me.
That's a true story. And so, got back a hold to the snake. I was like, dang, man, that was crazy. I ended up getting him right behind his head. So we were good, like controlled him for a minute. And some dude was like, in the crowd was like, bite him back.
That's a logical thing to say.
Man, I mean, what would you do with your kid? You know, your kid has a biting problem, you bite him back. But I'll be honest, I was more concerned about the snake because of whatever he got whenever he bit me that I was like, nah, it's just a matter of time. This thing's dead.
Yeah.
He's not living from that blood. He ain't surviving from that bite he gave me. So there was an old country dude in some red, white, and blue shorts, wasn't he? Had a mullet, tank top, and red, white, and blue shorts as best I remember. He's like, give it to me.
Probably related to you at some.
We're just gonna call him Mongoose because they eat snakes. We're gonna call
Yeah.
him, the Mongoose was across the pit.
He was like a redneck honey badger.
He said, give me the snake.
Oh, yeah. He said, throw that thing to me. when everybody's like, bite him back. I was like, nah, man, I won't. This snake's just trying to hold on. I'll just try to hang out the bounty hole. He just wants to listen to Quinton and watch, too. So I was like, whatever, I'll chunk to the dude. So I chunked across pit. Old boy grabbed it up just as quick as he could.
Pulled the Ozzy Osbourne on him.
Bites his head off the snake.
For real?
Straight to mouth. Bites the head off of the snake. Spits it on the ground.
Bro, and it's covered in like mud. Like the snake was completely covered in soupy mud.
Covered in my blood still. Had blood all over him. So now this kid's got whatever the snake got from me. Whatever I got.
Bit his head off?
Straight off. Didn't even miss a beat.
Like a clean bite?
Or
did a grip and rip, kind of like a crocodile would do?
No, you know how your teeth. Yeah, you know how your teeth are set up. Like the fronts are the cutters and the sides are like the grinders. Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't go to the front and just clean cut the thing. He went over to the side and kind of.
Oh, he did.
Like he was chewing on a piece of gristle.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Gnawed his head off. Poor snake was just out there trying to hang out the bounty hole. It bit me because I was messing with him, but I honestly thought we was gonna be cool. Like he'd been around enough people, he's probably like, all right, nobody's going to hurt me. I'm good. I've been around this crowd all day during the bounty hole. I thought like, man, I'll pick you up. You know, I'm just trying to get you out of here. No, sir. Kapow, tag me. Old boy fired back. Got it.
I mean,
R.I.P. to that one.
That was rude.
Still, I don't know if he was poisonous. I mean, I'm still alive like 4 days.
He's literally been like, man, my hand won't stop itching.
Yes, dude. Kind of got the crack scratch on my neck. You know what I mean? I've been in my office itching all weekend trying to figure out. Matter of fact, I'm itching right now. I'm itching right now.
Bro, bit his head off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, they had so many reptiles. They had little kids. They had frogs, turtles. There were snakes going back and forth all over the place.
Bro, you know some of them steaks be stanking too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
couldn't have tasted good.
Couldn't have tasted good.
He just spit it out.
He did it for the gram. There's no doubt about it.
100%. He wanted to get some airtime. But at least he got talked about on the podcast. I mean, can't beat that deal. So that was a wrap up of the bounty hole experience, which was a good time minus getting snake bit. Besides that, pretty good time down there at the bounty hole.
Sounds like a good time.
It was.
We had to leave and head back to the 19th hole at closing time because that's our MO.
Back front bar or back bar?
Both. We were skipping the dance floor and going straight to the back bar because that's where the action is.
Who was doing boot scooting boogie?
Cowboy's always, dude. He likes to go out and dance, and he likes.
He does.
Yeah. He
tear
same
the club
thing.
up.
Oh yeah.
West Coast and our town, honky tonkin'. It's called the same thing. He's like, let's go honky tonkin'. So we're like, cool. We'll go over to the 19th hole again. It was popping off.
No, we thought we was going to the 19th hole unscathed. Yeah. Bounty hole's done. Group ride's done. Everything went smoothly. We had a good time. Surely we're off clean. Like now, we parked the mud riding rigs. We get in the big defenders. Like we're just cruising around having a good time. And so Quinton jumps in that spare rig, which is an X3, pretty good horsepower rig. So it's fun to drive. It rips. It gets sideways real easy. So we're going out to the 19th hole, which is a big, wide dirt road getting there. So we're riding like 3 or 4 rigs wide. We're all in defenders, cruising, music playing, like just having a good time, talking trash back and forth.
It's kind of like the swerve and karaoke, where you're almost touching wheels and singing each other your songs. So that's what everybody was doing, just kind of mobbing.
Come up beside your buddy and take his rearview mirror out?
Yeah, like that. Like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so we're pulling up, and there's an armadillo in the middle of the road. And I know Cowboy never seen an armadillo I'm assuming because I found this out because after he jumped out, he said, "Whoa, what was that thing? What was that?" And so he pulls up on it, straddles it, parks right over the top of it on his defender, jumps out, tries to run around. So I jump out and run around to try to grab it. I was going to grab this armadillo and throw it in the rig with Eric because he's sitting right there beside where the armadillo was. And so Quinton sees us doing that, and he kicks it out, slides around, and points the headlights towards the woods so that we could grab this armadillo. Well, apparently, and I honestly didn't see this dude, and I don't know that he was even there whenever.
No, you know, like when you were riding down them trails, like we were acting a fool, we were, but I was making sure no one was coming. You would remember headlights in front of you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the only thing I can imagine, he was parked off at the edge of the road with his headlights off because it was him and his lady friend. And so whenever Quinton swings around, like he's sure enough fishtails and like he's on the freaking chip trying to get over there to us. And so I'm sure he's slinging heads and stuff. And so this dude, we didn't get the armadillo. The armadillo runs off in the woods. And so I go back to the fender and I sit down and everybody's faced away from this other car that pulls up. And I see this dude and like his old lady like pulling on his arm. I'm like, no, don't get out and say nothing. And to myself, I'm thinking, please don't get out and say nothing. For
your sake.
Yeah, because it's Quinton, Matt, Cowboy, Eric, and then me. like all kind of standing there, sitting there in a group.
This had to be like after 1 o'clock in the morning. 'Cause
Oh, it was.
Me and Josh and Dale left at like 12:30, 12:45.
You know they don't stay around for none of the nonsense.
No.
I was like, nonsense happening. Josh, you ready to go? Let's go.
So she was like, please don't say nothing. And I'm like, please don't say nothing. And so old dude jumps out and slams the door on his X3. And he comes stomping over there. And I'm like, oh, man. I tell Mikey, I was like, Mikey, watch the Defender. Because this fish can go live. All right. He had Riley with him, his little boy. So I was like, y'all stay in here. We finna have to handle business.
One dude.
Because
Was
Mikey,
storming over of 5 dudes.
Oh yeah,
Mikey-
and one of the
yeah.
5 dudes he was storming over to was Donald Cowboy.
Cowboy
Kick
Cerrone.
your head off, Cerrone. And so he walks over to Quinton's.
it's unbeknownst to me, Mikey and his son were riding with me. I've got the radio on 38. You know what I'm saying? I'm still beating. It never got turned down while there was armadillo chasing.
38
I don't
max.
even know what's
Max
going
out.
on. I can't hear his little high heels clicking over to me. So some dude just, next thing I know, some dude leans through the passenger window of the X3 and he's like, that was cool. But he didn't know how to be sarcastic because I didn't pick up on it. You know, so I was like, dude, he must know who we are. I was like, I don't know what I did, but I was like, oh, man, this is after the armadillo chase. So 5 minutes went by. I was like, all right, man, cool. Well, then he grips my hand hard and he's like, no, that
Aggressive?
was real cool. And I was like, all right, bro, cool. Which I knew I was driving like an idiot, but I wasn't doing it around people. So I was just like, I'm going to let this slide because I'm sorry. Maybe I did deserve an ass chewing, whatever. So I was like, all right, man, cool. And he's like, no. And he kept on. And I was like, all right,
Squeezing your
bro.
hand the whole time.
Yeah, so I pull my hand
when
out.
you know when you get that hand grip, but you roll somebody's hand to pop.
And there's like scrunches
Yeah.
up like
No,
this.
that didn't
you
happen to
pop
me.
their knuckles, you roll
And-
your hand and pop their
Yeah, and
knuckles.
then it ain't no coming back from that
Yeah.
until they let go.
You can't overpower that when
Yeah.
you get your fingers collapsed
You
like
turn,
that.
yeah, you turn their hands into purse hands.
Yeah, that didn't happen to me because it would have went a whole different way for him.
Just squeezing him back.
No, I didn't. He wasn't strong enough. His little girl hands. So I just kind of pulled my hand down. I was like, all right, bro, cool. And that's when I realized, like, all right.
Did he snatch it away from
No,
him like
no, I just a slow power to let him know, like, bro.
Just slow powered out
Yeah,
of
I
it.
just slow powered out of it.
Right,
And so then he's just staring at me, and he kind of stares at me for me. You can tell I was like, he's got it on his mind. I hope he makes the right decision.
He finna give you some straightening.
Yeah, and I think he thought he was going to take it further, so he just kind of stood there looking at me. You know, he's thinking, like, do I just go ahead and initiate this fight or what? Because
I just punch him in his face right now.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting there looking at him, and then he walks off, and I couldn't see past that. I was like, all right, whatever. And I just kind of laughed to myself, like, man, he was pissed and not having as good a time as us.
And that dude was parked behind Quinton, so like a little ways behind him. So when he got off from behind Quinton's bike, like Quinton couldn't see him no more. And Quinton looked over at me and was like, what on earth? And I look over to that dude walking back to his car, and his old lady's like pushing him, like, let's just get in here and leave. Let's just leave it alone. Let's go. And I'm still like, man, what? We didn't do anything to y'all. Like, we're minding our own business. We're just by ourselves out here. There's nobody around. Old dude pulls out a knife when he's walking back to his car.
For real?
And like freaking cracks it open because Mikey was with me, and I was like, man, surely not, dude. And Mike was like, oh man, that dude just pulled his knife out. I was like, I thought that's what it was. But they got back in their car. They got back in the side by side and like pulled away. So I was like, oh man, another near miss. Like,
No, his guardian angels were flying with him because we was about to have a new wife and whatever he was driving, he's finna be on. But he'd have been sleeping with the possums.
man. So I was like, guy, dude, dodged a bullet again. Like, we've got out clean all weekend. Like, we're good. We make it down to the 19th hole. 19th hole just closed down, so we couldn't stay there. So, like, we're like, all right, don't worry about it. Let's go back to the sand pit because everybody was leaving the 19th hole and kind of cruising out. So we're like, okay, we know where they're all going. They're going to the sand pit, which is like the hangout area. It's like the common area that you go to crank your stereo, park your bike with all the lights on it and just let everybody know. So we're like, cool, let's go do that. So we were out there, park, sit around, hang out for a little while, and just shoot the bull and like walk around. And so me and Cowboy was like, and Quinton was like, hey man, let's just go cruise around the crowd and like see if we know anybody or say hi, like shake hands with people, like just be cool with everybody.
Find some mud crickets.
Yeah, look,
Dude.
just search for mud crickets.
All right.
It started out with like everybody real quiet, spread out, their own little cliques, everybody trying to listen to their own music. And I was like, man, it's kind of cool. I was like, but dude, it's not popping off like we want to show them like it normally is, And then all of a sudden you see a razor pull in with a stripper pole and he's trying to put it by all the crowds of the girls because there was one group of dudes with some bikes that had a couple of good looking girls with them. So everybody's trying to start packing around that. And then Omar pulls up with that bike Rigsby built. Dude, it must have had 15 tower speakers on it.
Dude, it was crazy.
So loud, it would hurt your ears standing 20 foot behind it. Like,
It was painful.
crazy loud. So all of a sudden everybody's like, cool, let's just back around him. He's DJing. He was letting me play some songs. It was super cool. People was passing around everybody's liquor. Everybody's, it's 2 a.m. So it's community drinks. You ain't got a cooler no more.
Man, that ain't no lie. Like, I looked around a few times, and Cowboy, people would hand him something, and it was half empty mason jars of moonshine.
Didn't think twice about it.
Man, and you could still see the lip mark.
The lipstick and the chapstick from the person before.
Oh, booger lip marks all over.
All the way around the rim, and he would just like look at it for a second, like take a drink of it. Bro, we just started calling it the COVID jars. There was just COVID jars getting passed all around the crowd.
Super freaking fun, man. So that was the fun crowd popping up. Everybody's having a good time, dancing. Everybody's loose. And these dudes with the stripper pole would not give up, man. None of the girls wanted to get on it, and they were off to the side. And there's probably, it's 25 deep in a circle, like thick, 25 people deep in a circle that's the size of half a football field around behind Omar's bike. And everybody's having a good time. And these dudes, couldn't just let it be and party there. They're like, we want the girls on the stripper poles. So they're trying to back this thing up through the crowd. And you're trying to walk to the front of a concert, basically. That's how thick the people are.
Is this before we left?
Yeah, no. It was later that night.
Oh, okay.
Later that night.
They did it earlier that night, too.
They were being obnoxious.
No. This was later that night after y'all had already gone. So it was just me, Quinton, Mikey, Eric, which is Donald's childhood freaking homeboy, ride or die, and Cowboy. Yeah. So it's just us, and we're kind of just spread out through the crowd, like
socializing.
Quinton's dancing like in the little middle of the group. Cowboy's walking around the edge of the group, like trying everybody's moonshine. Me and Mikey are standing aside, and Eric's just standing there by himself. Like, Eric is, how tall is Eric?
5'8". He's probably D size.
Yeah, he's about 5'8". He said 140 or something like that. So like, he's not a big dude. He's got some, he's a dog. Like, he'll scrap, but he ain't a big dude. Like, when you look at him, he's small. He's the small guy of the group for sure. And he's standing there by himself, dude, just like dancing, like having fun, chilling. And those dudes with a stripper pole kept trying to back in.
Yeah, they try to back in. They get all the crowd moving. They're asking people to move, and I don't know how that all went. Well, they get to Eric, and he's at the front lines. He's like one of the 3 people right there. And like, I just turn around, just so happen to turn around, and I see this big burly dude. Had some weight. He's probably 250.
Probably 250, probably big, 6 foot.
Big dude. Just freaking don't even say nothing to Eric. Just chest checks the back of him.
For real?
Yeah, and I was like, I couldn't believe my eyes, and I was thinking, out of all 2,000 people in this mud pit,
one of the smaller
you
guys.
could tell that's what it was, because he
Man.
asked everybody else to move. And like, I was like, man, and I walk up, and Eric turns around, and like, they kind of say something to each other, I don't know, and I just kind of get in between them, and I was like, hey man, all you got to do is ask us to move. Like, he'll move if you're trying to back this thing. And he was like, I did, and he's staring at me, and I was like, no man, I saw you freaking chest check him, and he turns around. I said, we're not here to start no trouble. And he just kept on and wouldn't give up and want to argue. I said, cool, man, look, we're not here to fight. Like, if you want to back that thing in, we'll move. And he kept on and kept on. Well, Eric was mad already, and rightfully so.
He was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, just...
Can he scrap too?
Oh, he gets down.
They got some fun.
He would have tore that dude up.
Yeah,
Probably so.
Man, yeah, Eric would have, just because he's a scrappy dude. But like Quinn said, the dude was like probably 250, probably 6 foot, and like beard, and like just a big old cornbread dude. Like, he wasn't no joke. Yeah.
No, y'all describing him way bigger than me.
He's a big dude.
He was a big old thick, like barrel chested dude.
Been a handful.
Yeah. For sure. It'd have been a scrap for sure.
He's one of them big boys that could swing from grandma's house, and like, even if he catches with any hand, like, he could swipe crowds down with his arm.
Yeah. But
Eric's
for sure, he gets down. Like, he told us some stories the next day. Like, Eric is a rider. You know what I mean? And so, and to put it in perspective, there's like, I don't know how many, 200 people, 250 people just right there in that little group. And then probably another 300 like on the outside just hanging out. So it was a huge group of people. And I didn't see that happen. Like, I found out later what was going on, but I thought to myself, of all the people, there's 600-700 people out here. Of all the people you pick out of the crowd,
part of our group,
to chest check Cowboy Cerrone's freaking homeboy to chest check. There was 10 other people standing there that he could have like pushed. Freaking Eric is the one that he picked out. And so Quinton says it like he was like kind of saying nice. So whenever they do chest check, like, Eric kind of turned around and squared up on him. I was like, what's up? Like, he didn't know. You could tell he didn't know what was going on. Eric didn't. It's like, what's up? And dude was like, oh, I'm trying to move it. And like, Eric was just wanting to have fun, dude. Like, he was not looking for no trouble. So like, he was just standing there staring at the dude, and like Quinton, he kind of sees it pops off. And then I sneak up, like slip up beside the dude just in case something does. And so Quinton like walks up in the face. He's like, bro, what's your problem? Like, you know, he cuts the eyebrows at him and like get serious. Like I couldn't hear what was going on, but I was close enough in case something went live. Like we were all covered and I was scoping out who was with him. But Quinton was like face to face with this dude, like eyebrows down. And then you see them kind of start rocking back and forth and you're like, oh man.
You was ready to go too?
Yeah, I was watching for him to posture up. He was getting dropped 100%. But I knew, I was like, bro, we got Cowboy here. The last thing we need to do at like something we put together is be like, bro, we knew. Then that's what everybody suspects. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. So Eric already freaking got punked by this dude, chest check him. He's ready to go. Like he had his mind made, like he told me. And so like I get it de-escalated and the dude just would not quit because he already had his buddies out of the bike and they were standing behind him.
But at this time, the dude still don't know that Cowboy's there with us.
Yeah, so he has no idea. His buddies, goofy as can be, trying to get his shirt off. Like, what's up? Are we going? Had his arms tangled up in his jacket, and I'm looking at him like they literally don't know how bad this could go for them.
Right.
So I was like, hey man, back down. And then he's like, he's still staring at me. I said, bro, you chest checked him. What do you expect? I said, look, let's just call it good, and we're done. And like this is kind of before all that. We didn't calm the dude down like 3 times, but him and Eric kept making eye contact. And I walked over one last time. I said, look, bro, I said, y'all need to go because however you think this is going to play out with you and your buddies is not going to go the way you think it's going to go. I promise you. And he just kind of looked at me crazy. And then he did this kiss thing to Eric, and Eric was like, he's like, bro, I want to hit him so bad, like right in my ear. And I was like, chill out. And then it kind of ended right then, I thought. And D's right here got back up, ready to go. He's ready to freaking blindside somebody.
But during this time, like
Cowboy caught wind of it?
Well,
he
was still having a good time and just so happened to look over and like,
man.
you know, he knows like, hold on, something's going over there. Like it's about to pop off. So
this is what I see because I'm still standing right at, because we try to keep it where don't everybody know who's with who. You know what I mean? In case something goes super live, like you just start clearing the house. Mm-hmm. And so I'm standing diagonal off of Quinton behind these dudes, like scoping, like, all right, these 3 are together for sure. I see them postured up. They're looking at Quinton in case some. Well, that's been like, man, probably a minute of going round and round, and you see freaking Cowboy like seeing Eric like with his eyes, and I'm like, oh man,
Beeline, made a beeline, see what was going on.
So this is what happened. This is how I saw it. Literally watched it play out, standing there by the edge. Cowboy turns around and looks, and he stands there for a second. Takes his hat off, puts it on backwards, and when he does that, you see everybody that's like watching him, because a lot of people didn't know that was popping off, but they see Cowboy staying there for a second real still. Bro, it gives me goosebumps. Spins his hat around backwards, and everybody takes a step back. Like, oh man, like why is he doing that? And so Cowboy literally just beelines, just walks.
Here's your arm.
Bro, I'm telling you, I was like, oh man, here we freaking go. And Cowboy walks through, bro, just stone cold. He don't get fired up. He don't start yelling. Nothing. Head puts his hat on backwards. Everybody takes a step back, so it kind of cleared a path. And like Cowboy walked right up to that dude, leaned over in his ear, said something. The dude leaned back and looked at him like, "What on earth, you freaking psychopath?" And then he realized, like, "Oh man, this is Cowboy's homeboys that we're trying to tangle with." And then old dude just turned around, went and got on his bike and left.
they all left.
Cowboy turned his hat back around straight, looked over at me and Quinton, smiled. We went back to having fun. Like everybody went back to dancing. So that night we got back to camp, and like I'm like, dude, like what on earth? He's like, yeah, I saw it popping off. Like I spun my hat around backwards because like Eric knows whenever we do that, like it's go live time. He said, I walked up to that dude. He said, hey buddy, I need you to chill out. He said, but since you're so tough, I want to find out how tough you are. Let's walk over there to the edge of the woods away from all these people so nobody has to see, and let me find out how tough you are. And old boy leaned back from him and went, bro, his eyes got big as saucers, looked Cowboy in the face, and turned around and walked off. And I asked Cowboy, I was like, man, like, what was you going to do? Like, what if that dude didn't know who you was? He said, man, some people are about that life. Like, I've done it before, bro, and some people are like, all right, let's step out and let's go. And so Cowboy's like, I'm not going to fight in front of that crowd. I wouldn't have. I don't need nobody to know. He said, I want to find out how tough that dude is. I don't care if anybody else sees us fight.
At that point in time, he legit wanted to know how tough that dude was.
He said that's how he's always been, though. He told us a ton of fight stories, and he's like, fighting for me is not putting on a show for the crowd or being the big dog and people seeing. He's like, it's something for me. Like, I want to see how tough he is. If he's going to act like that, let's see what you got. He's like, I'll go off to the side. That way it don't ruin the party. and it's just me and him, and boom, it's done.
He said, and whoever walks back. Sitting his gun.
He said he's done that hundreds of times.
Like, everything calmed down. Everything was cool. Them dudes left. We hung out the rest of the night. Like, had a great time, dude. No problems. Everybody was having fun, taking pictures with us. But I played that scenario through in my mind, and I can just imagine if he was like, no, let's do it here. Or, like, tried to swing at Quinton or Cowboy. And we'd have had that whole sand pit tore up.
Filled the whole thing up with uppercuts.
Man, uppercuts for the whole crowd, dude.
You could tell, though, he was one of those people, he was just trying to see how much he can get away with somebody smaller. Like, when I was in his face, like, normally I wouldn't get an arm's reach somebody. I could tell. I was like, this dude, they're not ready to fight. Like, he's just trying to see who can bully around the park. So, nothing was going to pop off, but they didn't realize how close. I mean, all it would have taken and me to be like, you know what, I'm just going to punch this dude right now. Or Eric to hit him, and then it would have been who knows what.
Go lifetime.
Do y'all know if did he know who Cowboy was?
He did whenever Cowboy.
Oh, yeah.
He did. Like, everybody out there knew who Cowboy was.
Okay.
He just didn't know Cowboy was with Eric.
He didn't know they were buddies?
No. And so when Cowboy put his hat on backwards and walked up to him, you could see him kind of like, uh-oh, what's happening here? And then Cowboy whispered that in his ear. Bruh, and he was like,
He went to a dark place on him?
man, what?
You know,
Ruined his night.
that dude was like, man, that dude is a freaking psychopath.
No, but what's funny is when they got back to camp, he done told his buddies, bro, I told Cowboy, you can catch these things.
Yeah. You know, I told you what camping spot I was in. I was in 426. You better come on back.
Yeah.
No, I think that's the most embarrassing thing that could happen to him, because like if I would have hit him or Eric would hit him, and he would have had no choice to fight us, then that would have been the coolest thing. Because if you got whooped by a Cowboy, you didn't lose none. He's a professional fighter. But if he punks you and you don't do nothing after you trying to initiate something, bro, that's the worst. That's the most embarrassing thing. Yeah, for sure. And what was funny to me is, like D was talking about, you in big fights like that, you got to be real careful. You can't just go in bulldogging, because the smallest dude can catch you inside the head and you're out of the fight. So you're already trying to assess, like, all right, who's who. And I remember kind of looking around, and there was a couple people around me and Eric and them. I'm like, all right, they know what's going on. I'm like, who's with who? Are we outnumbered? Like, and the funniest part was when all that got done, like, everybody knew who Cowboy was, and they walked up and they was like, bro, we was ready to go. We had y'all's back. Them dudes was about to have the worst night of their life if something popped off. His bike, they wouldn't have no bike after that night. It was gone. People done had their mind made. They're like, I really like that Razor. I was hoping something was going to pop off.
It was like that. It was like that earlier in the night when I was still there. Like, people were already frustrated with that dude.
Yeah.
With the stripper pole backing up on people. So it's not the first time that they were trying to do that
Just
anyway.
trying to cram his stripper pole down everybody's throat.
Yeah, they just kept backing up, pushing people into each other.
Yeah, and people were going, no, because they were trying to turn the radio up louder and some other stuff going on. Yeah, they kept trying to pull
people were already fed up with them anyway, so they probably appreciated that, getting them out of there.
Somebody that listens to this podcast is going to know who them dudes is.
I'm surprised a Coors Light didn't fly across the crowd just to get it popped off and hit him square in his big head. Just somebody from the back of the crowd's like, listen, I don't know if they know we're with them, but I'm going to let them know real quick.
Dude, y'all know how it is, too. Like, those big groups, because even when we were still there, I mean, there was 12 of us, 10 of us in our group, and then people who knew who we were, or knew who we were, all gathering up around us. Like, you're always sitting there looking in the back of your mind. You're like, all right, who's going to, like, everybody's on edge anyway, unless you're just trash drunk. But, yeah, I was waiting for it to happen before that. So for y'all to have that happen,
that's crazy.
Man, it went smooth, and it turned out to just be a funny story now.
That's what I like about it.
Nothing happened,
I didn't care that we get in a fight. I think it's super funny it happened, and I'm glad it did, because it is a super funny story. Because that's like the most cliche thing that could happen.
Dude, is to get in a fight with a fighter. Yeah. Something like that.
I can tell by the way that y'all tell that story that it was not funny at the time. It was intense at the time.
Because we would end up hurting them, dude. Like Cowboy and Eric, like they've been in a ton of street fights, and Matt, even his media dude trains with them. Like, we may not have done much damage, but bro, if they would have taken a head kick from one of them, out. Dead.
Outer space.
We'd have had to bury him right there.
And thank goodness it just turned into that, though. Just a funny story. We laughed about it the next day, and like they left, it was no issue. Like, we just had a fun time the rest of the night. But it kind of seems like Cowboy, good time. He's fun to hang out with. He's our kind of people, dude. He likes having fun with us, and he trusts us to where, like, he can cut loose with us. He doesn't have to worry about it. He doesn't have stress with it. So it ends up just like our group, whenever we go riding, it just goes to the next level, and it keeps pushing farther and farther. And what's crazy is we didn't look for any trouble all weekend. And we tried to de-escalate everything that we could. But it seemed to follow us around just on the weekend.
Like it always does.
Dude, and we go out there 1,000 times and never have trouble with nobody, dude.
mean,
hardly ever have trouble with anybody.
the mud
before
rides,
midnight.
man. The mud rides, some stuff's popped off. And another thing. Well, Eric had his mind made. He was already still mad about the night. I told him, I said, look, dude, I can tell you're mad. He's like, man, I just don't ever start nothing when Cowboys around because I don't want to get him in trouble.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, if you want to go find them dudes, like, I'll go with you. We ended up not though.
You was
Like,
ready to kick somebody's head to Uranus.
I would have for him because I'm like, bro, if I was him, I'd want to punch that dude in the face too
Yeah.
because it wasn't like an accident. It was an intentionally trying to punk somebody.
Yeah.
So those type of people, I think,
Taking advantage.
they 100% deserve instant karma.
Yeah.
That's one of the I guess catch-22s of hanging out with Cowboy is like when you go out with him, like you don't have to worry about nothing because dude he's got your back. And whether you're in a bad situation, a good situation, like Cowboy's gonna be there with you. You know
Got
what I
your
mean?
back, yeah.
Like he's a ride or die dude. So that man he's cool dude. Hang out with him, Eric, man, Matt. They're just
Super good people,
They're
man.
our kind of people, dude. And thank goodness we're gonna do more stuff with them like coming up this year. We got some things going. We just had some calls with Can-Am. Like we're gonna do some more stuff with Cowboy and it's stuff, man. It's just he wants to have fun, dude. He's got spare time, and he likes hanging out with us. So.
He's a redneck. He's trashy.
Dude, it's
old
somebody
redneck.
100%.
like the coolest thing because we've been mud riding with people before, and you're always looking behind your back. Like, are they keeping up? Are they trashing something? Do
Are
they
they
know what they're
having fun?
doing? Are they having fun? Dude, he literally is one that I didn't look back. I knew he was behind me, but I didn't look back the whole time to make sure he was okay or hey, can you do this or whatever. Like,
No, they
he's
can
just
handle-
freaking
they
one of
can
the
handle their
boys
own.
going.
Yeah,
you
they can
handle their
know,
own.
and Eric too. Like once Eric got a taste of what 5 foot deep water was, didn't have a problem. So it was cool riding with
On
him.
my renegade.
Yeah, on your renegade.
He took
Sorry
care of
about
it.
that.
He took care of it.
Nah,
So-
no, I'm glad they had fun.
But-
I just hate I missed that.
Yeah, dude, it was a crazy weekend, crazy time, and now it's just good stories. Literally nothing came of it except Quinton and them owe the bartenders at 19th hole a whole bunch of money.
Still never paid them?
They didn't even pay for the dollar shots. Just like Quinton was telling you, they was usually $7, and they was like dollar shots for everybody. Nobody even gave him $1 for it.
But they just kept pouring them.
Yeah, I did figure out that part. I said he's not the accountant.
Nobody even gave him $1 for it.
Oh my god.
But bro, we got what? We got skydiving coming up, mountain biking.
Yes.
What else?
I ain't
Kids
even heard about
camp.
none of this.
Kids camp is the big
Oh, this
thing.
happened. This happened.
Skydiving and
This is
Matt.
on the day he's leaving. He's
Mountain
like, all
bike
right,
ride?
cuz I'm out. But hey, let's do a quick brainstorm. Hey, we need to do skydiving. We got mountain bike. He's on the phone. Like, bro,
Called
Making
this-
stuff happen?
Bro,
Dude,
he was
called-
calling. We were
YT.
eating lunch Friday, and he called his boy that does whitewater rafting
Oh,
in
yeah.
Colorado. He's like, "Hey, how many rafts you got? What about this date?"
What?
And he's like, "I
Bro,
got
he's
you.
just-
All
he's-
right, cool."
he's got that kind of weight. He's just not used. He don't realize like we're like, bro, that takes some planning. He's like, no, I got this homeboy. Yeah, he's like the best whitewater rafter here. He's got all this. And he's like, hey man, we want to do something pretty crazy, like 5s or 6s or something. He's like, oh yeah, I got y'all. You let me know when. And he's like, I stay pretty booked, but I'll clear whatever I need to. He's like, done. And then he calls YT. He's like, hey, I need 8 bikes out here. And what event are y'all putting on? We want to come hijack that. $8,500 bikes. So yeah, no problem. We'll have 8 of them out there and a technician.
So this done turned into something. Originally, we was just going mud riding, going to have a rough and rowdy first group ride. Like, see how it turns out. And now, Cowboys planning trips all across the country to go places, do group rides, hang out with people.
He said he's taking some time off before his next fight, and he wants to just freaking live.
Just
And
pack it all in.
he told us, he's like, bro, I ain't got friends like y'all that can just cut loose and plan stuff and
Yeah.
do stuff like this. He's like, So I was
Man.
like, all right, cool. Him and Eric and Matt, like they wanna tear up, they wanna burn the world down with us.
And they're good people. But the next thing we got coming up, which is going to be cool, which we are going to do more of those rough and rowdy rides and go places, is we've got the kids camp out at the BMF Ranch. He's hosting 25 kids from ages 14 to 16 out at the camp to teach them life skills, mentor them, teach them, how to box and wrestle and jiu-jitsu, teach them how to work on our race cars. And like, we're going to take them for riding experiences and do all this cool stuff for a week with these kids camp in July. And so now he's already taking applications, like he's got it on his Instagram, how to fill it out, how to get your kid out there and all that stuff. So maybe unfortunately, he's asked us to be chaperones for this thing to where we got to go out there and take care of
Oh
these.
Lord.
We're responsible for 2.5 kids.
After y'all hear that story that we just told, like, it's okay. We got it.
Yeah, your
We
kids
got-
are
we
good
got
with
your
us.
kids.
Yeah, your
They're
kids are good with us.
Listen, they're gonna know how to handle themselves. You know what I'm saying? De-escalate situations
We're teaching them
with
head kicks first and whispers in the ears next.
Yes. yes.
with confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Don't get frustrated.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, but that's pretty well a wrap. I know this turn went into a long one, but this was a good one.
If y'all want to watch some more podcasts, visit our website, jump on YouTube, visit Spotify, Apple Play, listen to all of us talk about all the crazy wild times we have.
Help scare money, don't make money.